All right, family. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Welcome, welcome.
Shabbat shalom.
I don't know why. I don't know why my screen is so foggy. Do I look foggy to y'all?
Yes,
Hold on a second, please.
you do.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, beloved.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. What's going on, family? Nasik, you here? Let's rock and roll, bro. Let's rock and roll. Shalom, Sister Aisha. Shabbat shalom. Abba, Shabbat shalom. I guess somebody got a device on in the background. All
Oh, I'm
right.
muted. I'm talking and I'm muted. Shabbat shalom, everyone. All right.
Shalom, Nasik.
I was saying shalom, the princess, to Gabriel Autumn, Prince. Welcome to another Shabbat class at Temple Kifarim. You all know the deal. First, let's get started by subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, that should be your first thing. Then make sure you hit that reminder button so when it's live events going on, you are notified. Also, make sure that you like. First portion of class, or the first class, we give honor and praise to the Most High. Honor and praise to the Most High. So if you are on, put what you're thankful for. Give honor and praise to the Most High. That's encouraging for those of us that's watching that may not want to say something. So those that's always here every week, go ahead and show them the ropes. All right. Give honor and praise to the Most High. We will share it. If you want to come on, you can. The link will be sent in the chat. You could click the link. You could come on, speak for yourself, whether your camera is on or off, but we prefer that it is on. All right. All right. Do we have anyone? I can't see anything. Oh, there we go. I can see now. Shabbat shalom. Good. So anyone on the panel want to give honor and praise to the Most High first? Kick it off.
There's a lot going on.
I can. Shabbat shalom, beloved. Giving all praise to our Most High, King and Creator. Thanking Him for yet another day of life, another day to celebrate life and to be here together on the Shabbat day. Magnifying Him for all that He's done, for what He's doing, and for the things that I have great expectation of Him yet to do for us, and even personally in the future. Thanking Him for a Beulah family, for Temple Kefarim, for Prince Kez and Princess Madaya, for Be'er Ma'azan, for my son Nasik Shamar, and Princess Amuna, my baby girl, one of my baby girls. And just thanking the Most High for Akot Autumn, and for my nephew, for baby Prince Kez, and just thanking the Most High for what He's doing in this hour and the things that He's bringing revelation and insight to His people, and for the truth of His Torah, His instructions, that we may walk upright, be righteous before Him, and walk in all of His ways. And His ways are truly right and righteous in and of themselves. And I'm just grateful for a time of reflection, insight, and revelation. There are great things I truly believe that are yet to come on the landscape for us as people. And I'm just excited for how and when He reveals them to us, and for just being a part of it. Shabbat shalom, beloved. I yield.
All right. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah.
All right. We have Aisha says, hopefully I'm saying it right. I'm used to saying Chaza. I am thankful for new beginnings. She says, Shabbat Shalom, Prince and family.
All right. May the Most High be praised.
All right, those that's tuning in, if you're just coming in, if you haven't yet, make sure you like. For those that commented already, make sure that you like. If you haven't, make sure that you subscribe if you haven't. This is the moment where we give honor and praise to the Most High. Anyone else?
Everybody all quiet. Why y'all all quiet? This is the time where you should be shouting and screaming and making all that noise.
Okay, and I can go.
All right.
Shabbat Shalom, Lekulam, Miss Barker. Total Rabah for your thanks. Av, nice to see you. And hopefully you can hear baby kids in the back, but you might not be able to, but we'll see. Shabbat Shalom to everyone on the panel, all my family. Shabbat Shalom to all that may be listening right now and later in time. Shabbat Shalom to you all. I am very grateful for a whole week of rest, a whole week of just being at home with our son, being at home. I am on break from work for another week, so I'm grateful for that. Extremely grateful. Being a teacher is a lot of work, but I'm very grateful for just time off, just time to spend with our son and our husband, and just time to be home and rest. Yeah, I'm thankful for the conversations that me and my husband had this morning. We were watching a video about this group of women. I don't know if y'all seen that on YouTube. It's like a debate thing, and one side has an opinion, the other side has another opinion. They sit down and talk to each other, something like that. And we were watching a video this morning. It was a group of all women panel, and one side was basically all Christian and another side was like, spiritual, non-religious, that type of thing. And they were just having conversation with each other. And I asked my husband, because I have family who is either, spiritual or just like don't really believe at all. It's a mixture. Anyway, I asked my husband, like, well, how do I explain to someone, well, what we do is not religion? That was one of my questions. And then my second question was, well, to an atheist, someone who doesn't believe in anything, we all basically sound the same. Like Christians say they get their so-called laws or whatever, their instructions from a deity. Buddhists say the same thing, and we know that ours come from the creator. But to an atheist who doesn't believe in anything, we're all sound the same. So how could I explain our way of life to someone who doesn't? How can I explain that we're not the same? And one thing that he said was that, well, first you have to understand that if it's not for them, it's just not going to be for them. And the second thing he mentioned was that a lot of the times, or really every time, a lot of these religious books really talk about us just in different ways. It was a good conversation this morning. A conversation I think is worth having, just because so many of our people are scattered in different walks of life, and or may not believe in anything. So I think it's a good conversation to have, so that we may be armed in conversation. So it was a good conversation me and him had this morning. So I'm thankful to be able to have those types of combos. So yeah, and I'm thankful for health and life and strength. I'm thankful to be up and accounted for. And Shabbat Shalom. May it be a great class today. Toda.
May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. Toda Rabbah.
Well, we got to bear Chelsea. Shabbat Shalom, family. I'm so grateful. This has been a great week for me. Toda Yah for this day of rest. I'm thankful for all the provisions and just being a light to all I come in contact with.
May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah.
Chief Malek says, Baruch Shemo or Shemo. Shabbat Shalom, Prince Kez. Welcome.
May the Most High be praised. Anyone else? Okay.
All right, for those just coming in, if you haven't, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure that you share. This should be an interesting conversation or lesson, the correct way to do polygyny. It's a lot of messed up ways out there.
A whole lot.
Hurting a lot of people. But make sure that you like, share, subscribe. And this is the moment where you give honor and praise to the Most High. You know, we like to hope that you're doing it every day. But if you missed out a couple of days, this is the perfect platform to do it right now. All right. And if you want to come on yourself, the link will be put up in the chat if it hasn't already been put there. Salakli or Silchili, Princess.
No problem. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Giving honor, praise, and glory to the Creator for life, for sustainability, for the lessons and the blessings, for just for the Creator allowing me to rise up this rising and give thanks to Him and Him alone. Thanking Him for everything that He has blessed us with this week. Every week, you know, I believe it's, if you haven't gained something, learned something throughout a week, then, you know, I feel like you probably need to have a do-over. It's important that you take every day and do your best to succeed, to accomplish something, to learn something, to become better at who you are. And so I'm just thankful that the Most High has allowed me to be able to acknowledge that and see it and utilize it when and where I'm supposed to. Giving thanks to the Creator for my Horim, my parents, my mother. So much of her spirit has been around us this week. And just reflecting on her guidance. This month or this time of the year for my family is Kwanzaa growing up, and that was one of my mom's favorite things to do with us. You know, I know a lot of people don't do Kwanzaa or they look at Kwanzaa in different ways, but for my family, it was that time where we really did a lot of family time, and we lived and we practiced the principles of Kwanzaa every day. It wasn't just during this month. It was something that my mother made sure that it was embedded in us to remember the daily principles and what they mean, what they stand for, and to interface them into our daily lives. So it didn't become like a holiday, but more like a lifestyle for us. So, you know, I don't get into debates. I know a lot of Israelites don't do it. I don't really get into debates. And personally, I don't really care to go back and forth with a lot of people, because most people who don't do a lot of things, it's a lot of it is because they were just taught not to do it, but they never researched it or understood it, you know, and people just put everything in a box and that's where they leave it. So for me, being the way I grew up, my sister wife said something like, you know, when your families are all different. I remember somebody just recently came and visited my father. And when he came, his favorite line is, well, his name is Willie Ricks. He coined the slogan along with Kwame Ture, Black Power. And so his favorite line when he sees everybody is, "Hey, African." And as I grew up, he used to pinch my cheeks all the time. And so when he came, he said, "Y'all family is a great mixture of everything." Because my twin brother happened to be here when he came, and he said to my brother, "Hey, African." And my brother was like, "I'm an Indian. I'm a Native American," because my brother has researched and gone back into those roots. And so, and then he was just like, "I love it though, because you can never tell the disunity. If there is disunity or discrepancies in you all's family, you can't tell because y'all just continue that vibe together." And that's one of the things I'm thankful for, that the way that my parents raised us, we did not find contradictions. Even if we know there's contradictions in each other's way of life, we don't make that the focal point of our conversations. I don't even think we've ever had a debate about it with each other's family. Like, I have Christian family who celebrate Xmas, celebrate all those holidays. And I've never gone to any of them and tried to debate why they do it, when they're gonna stop, none of that. And it's just been like that. And I'm thankful for that, because it allows us to love each other regardless. And it allows us to respect each other, most importantly. And so I'm thankful that my parents, actually put that in us to be respectful. As long as nobody's disrespecting you and your way of life, there's no reason to do it to them. And I'm a believer that that's not something that's even that the Creator taught us to do. He did tell us to separate ourselves, but I don't see where he taught us to go and argue and debate and put people down and. But I'm sure somebody has or can pull up something where they believe that's what it is. So, but when my sister wife brought that up, it made me really reflect on that, and I'm just thankful that I'm able to live and be comfortable in who I am without feeling like I gotta tiptoe around my family, whether they accept it or not. We're able to respect each other's beliefs and way of life. So I'm also thankful for, just this time continually with my father. Last week, he was still vibrant in a way, telling jokes and getting sarcastic with us. My Ish was here, and, it was kind of even funny to hear some of the things he would say to him or whatever, and just his resistance on trying to get help. And then my Ish left on Thursday. And then ever since my Ish left, my father has been in a very different state. He's sleeping. He was sleeping a lot then, but he's definitely sleeping more. He's not even verbal as he was. You might understand 2 words and then it goes into babble. And his whole everything is just different. And I remember asking my Ish, like, oh, if he passes when you're gone, and he was like, I just have to come right back. And my sister, I'm thankful because my sister and my children came the other day, and just being able to share these moments, these last days of my father's life with everyone has been a blessing. Growing up, I've shared my parents all my life. And of course, you get selfish in the end. And me and my siblings say it all the time, like, we just want this time for ourselves. But in all honesty, it's like it doesn't even feel the same to even say it. It doesn't even look the same because there's no way we're going to have it to ourselves because our parents knew so many people, were mentors and prominent in so many people's lives. That, it only feels right to make sure that everybody is involved in this process because they were so involved in so many people's lives from birth to their deaths. And even adulthood. So I'm thankful for all the support and love. I'm thankful that Ish was able to be here for like 2 weeks to just, actually support and help me to take my mind away from a lot of it at times. And, just kind of encourage me when, I'm feeling a little differently and encouraging me to kind of like let my father be prideful in the moments that he needs to be prideful and take those moments and allow him to have his moment as well. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for all my family, my community. I'm thankful for just the Most High opening up my eyes to know him in this walk. I'm just thankful that he has given me the discipline. I say it often. I'm humbled and I'm honored to have been chosen to be my father's caretaker. It is a difficult path to be a caretaker and his daughter, but I'm humbled by it because it's taught me so much in this process. My father has been all my life my protector, my guide. When I need anything, he's there to lift me up. I didn't grow up rich, but I grew up wealthy in love. And I grew up wealthy in just having a father there, and a true father who would listen, talk to us, keep it real with us, make jokes, and teach us, most importantly. And so I had actually a long talk with my Ish about just how I'm feeling emotionally and vulnerable in this process because, you know, it's like a parent is something that you're born in this world with. So when they leave you and you're still in this world, you have to kind of readapt and reinvent yourself in so many ways, because in so many ways you're left without that particular shield that the Most High placed before you. And so, you know, even moving towards this process, I'm reflecting a lot on his and I relationship, and I'm just thankful that I do have the father I have, because, you know, I look at so many young women that don't, and you know, it saddens me because I know the value of having a father, a great man, a strong man in your life, and I know what it's done for me, and even done for my children and my sisters, and you know, my brothers. So I'm just grateful for this moment, and I'm sure I'll be forever grateful for this moment. And I just pray that the Most High eases my father's pain, and you know, wherever we are, whether we're with him or not with him, that when he takes his last breath, that he is taking it in acknowledgement of knowing how much he's loved, how much he will be honored, and you know, just I just pray that the Most High is with him through this process, and that he continues to be with us through this process. He's like, who?
May the Most High be praised. Total Rabah. May the Most High be praised. It is definitely a process.
All right. Those are tuning in right now. Got about 13 people right now and 6 likes. Let's get those
13
likes.
people and 6 likes. That's it. Israel.
Yeah.
Come on, Israel.
6 likes. Let's get them likes up, you all. We appreciate you watching, but you know. We got Chief Malak says thankful to the Creator for the constant build and his laws, and for seeing the laws without opinion. Baruch Shema. He says it's humbling. It's a humbling process. I watched my father dwindle in his hospital bed for 7 months. Creator is great. He got his portion now. He's good. Baruch Shema Adoni.
May the Most High be praised.
Sister Aisha says that's a big one. Respect of persons, family equals love, unity, and blessings.
May the Most High be praised. 7 months.
The Barry Yoel says, Shabbat Shalom, family. I'm thankful for health, the Creator's love, and traveling mercies. I'm so thankful for that my family and I were able to spend much needed time with my family in North Carolina.
May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah.
All right. Zakena says, Gloria. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. All right. Make sure you hit the like, that share, and that subscribe button, and a notification button too. Guess I'm the last one up.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's like a Nasikushi. Adante Tariq is here.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. I would just like to say thankful to the Most High for life, my health, His strength that He gives me. I'm thankful for traveling mercies. Me and my family traveled to North Carolina for about a week and a half to visit some family. Like my Isha said, it was very well needed. It's always good to be able to see your family, you know, where you come from, your blood, and where you come from, and you know, being able to still see that everybody's doing well, and you know, just to get that, just to feel that their vibe and their energy, it was pretty cool. I'm thankful to be back though. I mean, yeah. There's no place like home. There's no place like a peace of mind. You know, nature, going back home was cool, but once you get back out there and everything's fast paced and loud, and you kind of miss that peace and quiet. You know what I'm saying? And I mean that in the physical sense and the spiritual sense. Thankful for my beautiful family, my spiritual Ima, Princess Medaya, spiritual Abba, Prince Kez. Thankful for the season that we are in. I'm thankful for my baby girl is still doing amazing. She's still, growing and thriving. And yeah, I'm just thankful for the lessons. Thankful for the lessons that the Most High continues to give each of us, give us in the ways that He do it, the ways that He show us. And yeah, I'm just thankful to be able to be here to speak and stand before you all. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. May the Most High be praised. A lot of people don't know, but he just had a little baby girl. So he had to go through his purification days because he stayed right there with his baby girl while she was still young. And I believe she became clean yesterday, wasn't it? I believe it was yesterday. She became clean, so now he can come to the temple. When was it?
On the 26th.
On 26, okay. So she became clean, so now he can come and go freely into the temple, the house of worship. May the Most High be praised. And I know he got a whole lot more to talk about because he didn't just go to North Carolina. He went to Atlanta. He made a couple stops along the way. He did a whole lot of other stuff. He just cut it short, didn't talk about it all, but that's all right. It's okay. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. May the Most High be praised. Can't hear you, Nasik.
So can I say I'm thankful and grateful for Mercy, my husband, being Yisrael, love, protection, and all he provides.
You know what? Oh, boy. Let me say something about that. Thank you for reading, Nasik, and Ima, thank you for posting. But a lot of us take for granted what she just said. I don't know if she understood her magnitude or if she meant it the same way. But let me just say this little point right here. Ima said, I'm thankful and grateful for Mercy, my husband being Yisrael. That's a big deal. Your husband is Israel and you're married to that man. That's how I understood what she was saying, that her husband is an Israelite. He's practicing, serving the old creator. See how that L is capitalized? Put emphasis on the Most High because he's living and practicing and breathing the Most High's ways to the best of his ability. May not be perfect, but he's doing his best to his ability. There are so many Israelite women that are so desperate to have a man that they take a lot of males that are not Hebrew, and that's not allowing them to grow in this way. And I am not talking about the ones, now let me make this clear. I'm not talking about the ones who marry a man who is not in this way, but yet she's free to worship and serve the Creator. And he doesn't practice anything, thereby she's not committing idolatry. I understand that situation a lot easier. But there's a lot of us, our women, who are so desperate to have a man, but yet claiming to be a servant of the Most High. And I'm not judging anyone. I'm stating my facts as I understand them to be. And I pray that I never have to experience this ever. But they sacrifice their understanding of the Most High and join themselves with people who practice idolatry. And we know they're practicing idolatry. But because we're so much in need of companionship and love, and the Israelite brothers don't seem to be attracted to me, they're not coming in my direction, so I just go grab whatever I can grab and hold on and latch onto that. I promise you, sisters, I promise you, destruction will meet soon. If you're in that situation, I pray and I beg you, please ask the Most High to have mercy upon you and ask him to be compassionate. Please. I went into a relationship once as a man with a woman who wasn't worshiping the Almighty, but claimed she was going to in the process of once we came, husband and wife. Her attempts was very futile. It was with no effort. It was almost as if she wasn't doing anything. And that was one of the worst marriages I ever been in. It lasted for 3 years, really like a year and a half, but we didn't break up until about another year and a half after the destruction crept in. But it was horrible. So when I'm speaking from a man's side of things, which is even worse than a man taking a woman that's not that way. But on the female version, we're going to read in the scriptures in this my lesson today. We're going to read a portion, if I go to that part, where it says that for Israelites, women to marry outside of Israel, it was taboo. It was forbidden. And it was something that our people shunned against. Now, sisters, I know that a lot of us, our sisters, feel like we men have failed you. And I understand and I ask that you will forgive us for our failures, because we have. We failed a lot of or she don't look good enough. She ain't sexy enough. She ain't skinny enough. Never do I hear him say she's not spiritual enough. She's not into the Torah enough. I don't hear that. I hear things from the physical eyes as why we choose not to take these women. So sisters, I ask from the bottom of my soul that you please forgive us, for many of us are in ignorance, because it's not about how you look. It's not about your physical appearance in all instances, because even if marriage, if you fat, ugly, and beat with a stick, you're a living soul, breathing soul who calls upon the Almighty in a righteous way, and you're worthy of a husband. Truly you are. And an Israelite man should be able to see that and bring you under his covering, even if it's just to be a pelegesh, a concubine, even if it's just for that purpose, to give you a covering. Why? Because you are a daughter of the Most High, and you're worthy of that. So we brothers got to get past this craziness, looking with our eyes, thinking that I got to be sexually attracted to this girl. I have to be in love with this. No, that ain't your job as an Israelite man. The Creator never said through scriptures that you got to be in love with somebody or you have to be attracted to somebody. He never said that. So why are you making it a prerequisite for marriage? There's so much we're going to cover today, but we're going to get into the scripts. We're going to get into the book, and we're going to have that done. But I just need the sisters to understand. Be patient. Hold on. Times are changing. Classes like today are being implemented all over the world. And a lot of males are turning into men. And they're beginning to realize that it ain't all about what they look like. It's about how they serve. And what do I mean by how they serve? How they worship the Almighty and commit themselves to his duty. How their love and compassion and strength is toward the Almighty. That woman is worthy of a husband. And we brothers, we got to realize that if we are in a physical, mental, spiritual, and financial condition to take on another wife, we must, because our people need us. And Ima, I thank you so much for bringing that up, because this was truly necessary. My husband being an Israelite, that is a blessing. Believe me, it's a blessing for you to walk the same faith with your husband in truthfulness to the best of your ability. Even if you fail together. But it ain't nothing like that. May the Most High be praised. And I just wanted to make that a little bit known. Todorabah.
All right. For those, Elder said, yes, that's it. Cain, it is an amazing blessing and advantage to be with an Israelite man. A blessing indeed, amen. Congratulations to Azante Tariq for the blessing of our new baby. May the Most High bless her life abundantly and carry her life always.
Look how she said that, our new baby. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Aim Devout. Aim Katir.
Shabbat Shalom, family. I'm thankful to the Most High for another year of life. I'm grateful for all He's allowed me to experience during the past years, and look forward to continuing in His service.
So can we sing the happy birthday song for Aim? Is it all right? Can we do that on this day? I don't know how to sing it. If I did, I would have just go ahead on and do it. I don't. Anyway, happy birthday, Aim. We like 2 days late, I believe it is. But Aim, happy birthday. May the Most High give you many, 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 many more beautiful, blessed birthdays. Toda Rabbah. Toda Rabbah.
All right. If you haven't yet, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We got 11 likes and 20 people tuned in. 11 likes and 20 people tuned in. If you haven't did it yet, please like, share, and subscribe. And Yom Huladet Sameach Em Kater. Ayabarech. The Most High bless and guide you. All right, you all. I'll go ahead and do mine. I'm grateful. I want to give honor and praise to the Most High. The eternal source and unyielding power of all that exists. First and foremost, in my Aim and Ab for Ab and Aim for having me. For my Isha for doing the work with me. For her, Ab, which is Elder Mattathias, who's on here, and Aim, Aliyah, may the Most High bless her memory for all the work that she has done and their family has done. You know, it's interesting, since we've been networking, we was doing a little networking, hence the Bed Mazan network, right? We were doing a little networking, and we went to fellowship with another group, one of these Shabbats or Shabtot. And you know, when we came in there, they had spoke on Bed Mazan and what we were doing and what we're doing. And then they mentioned Aim, my Isha's Aim, or Ima, you always say. And it's just amazing to hear how many people she actually touched. Like it was a lot of people speaking about her and her teachings, and you know, it make you want to go back and kind of check out some of the stuff that she's, you know, why are they speaking so much about her? The person that's over this organization, he said before, I don't know if it's before he started it or while early in his walk, he was watching her every Shabbat, her teachings, every Shabbat. And this is what he was saying. So it was interesting. And what's interesting about it is this: two things. One, it's amazing to see how people talk about you and remember you and the impact that you left on their lives without even knowing. That's one. That means something. What we doing here, us keeping Shabbat, us, you know, serving the Most High, us doing that stuff is important. But if you're not being a benefit for Yisrael, there was a lesson I did a while ago, and we saw it in Isaiah. It talked about these leaders and the people within us weren't a benefit to each other. If we're not a benefit, we're not doing anything. We believe we are, but we're not. So that's the one part of that one. The second part is this. I'm not sure how much she knew she was. And I say that to say, we need to give what they say our flowers to the people while they're alive. You know, you all heard how Zakane, everyone's coming to visit. I think it had to be over 100 people so far that done came on that land. You know, I could be wrong, but not on that land, on Beulah land. And that's what we need. We need, and I want to take it a step further. I think we should be doing while people are in that healthiest moment. You know, because some people think they're not, most people think they're not touching the people like they actually are. Those that secure in themselves and know what they're doing and doing the work of the Most High know that they are. They understand, like I teach the remnant of a remnant. So you're going to touch a small amount, but to see that was amazing. So I'm grateful to see that. You know, I often wonder if that's the case on a large scale, and to see that in person is pretty cool. I'm just grateful for what the Most High is doing in me and my Isha's life. I'm grateful for the protection of the prayers that I have every day for each and every one of you, that everyone is safe. In Illinois, my family in Illinois, and South Carolina, my family here. In Beulah, I'm praying daily for Beulah family. Even the ones that we don't even really talk to, I think that's important that we do that. So I'm just grateful for all of that. And I think that those of you that are doing the work, whatever work that you are doing, keep doing it. Don't get discouraged. Don't let anyone discourage you. Don't let anyone remove whatever it is the Most High has put in your spirit to do, because that is not for them to understand. You understand, especially if you are keeping the ways in which we see our literature instructs us to do through the inspiration that the Most High has given our forefathers and foremothers. So that's all I have. There's more. I just can't. It's a lot going on in my mind right now, but that was something that I love. I was grateful for seeing, and that's it. If I come up with something else, I'll tell you. Yeah. Oh, lastly, those of you that was our friends on Facebook, we have a new Facebook, same name. We got locked out of our Facebook account. So those of you, we didn't delete you all or anything like that. Just wanted to put that out there. Anyone that's already friends, that were friends with us, you can still find us with the same name on Facebook.
Did you get locked out or hacked?
Locked out. The account was under my old number and under my old email. And we did the steps that they told us to do with the video. And they said, okay, you could go back to it. And we could not get back in it. And we was trying for a few days. So we just created a new account.
It might have been intentional. They didn't want you up there. Yeah. Sometimes they do that stuff, man. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. There you go.
Likewise, Chief Malak. It's a lot coming through, man. A lot coming through. Stay tuned. I'll find you on Facebook so you can stay tuned. Shalom.
May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. So I guess it means it's my turn now, huh? Anyone else want to go? Somebody forgot to say something that they want to say? Somebody got something, some more juice they want to add to the flavor? Okay.
Yes. I apologize. I did want to mention this morning, since my father has been like dwindling about a month and a half ago, my cousins and I have been like setting up a Zoom for my dad and my aunt. They're the only two left out of four. My oldest uncle and my oldest aunt passed away like 10 months from each other 2 years ago. And so, it's just been a blessing to kind of like witness this dynamic between my father and his sister. And because she's older, my dad is the baby. And it's always a joke because my dad was the biggest out of all his siblings, the tallest, the biggest, as in just his weight and everything. And they always still would call him the baby. And so today, my dad was awake for a little bit. So I called my cousin, was like, okay, let's get them on Zoom so she could speak to him. And the entire time they were on Zoom, I just cried because my aunt was sitting there reading stories to him, reminiscing on like poems that my grandfather, which this is stuff I've never heard in my whole life, because my grandfather passed away long before we were born. And and so just to hear her talking about my grandfather and the way he spent his time with his children, it was just so phenomenal because it made me even see where my father got that love to spend time with his children for, something that I had never known about my grandfather, right? And she was just so patient because my father would try to like say something, but she couldn't understand it. And then she said, well, I love you. And I said, Daddy, did you hear Auntie? And she said some things he doesn't have to say. I know he loves me. And, I just felt so just happy to be there and see that. And, and she was just thanking me and my cousin for allowing them to have that. And we both said how they probably both needed it. He needed to hear his sister and she needed to see him. And she just kept telling him, "You're the baby," and was just reminding him of all the beautiful times they've had as children and just the beautiful times they've had, the four of them. And, and I just, I don't know if I'm oversharing with people, but it helps me, honestly. So I just thank the Creator for that. And I just pray that, when people are in these moments, and as Nasik said, we should be doing this when we are healthy. And I'm thankful in my family, we do have family meetings like every 2 weeks on that side of my family. And then growing up, we had family meetings. So we were always able to have those moments to talk to each other, do check-ins and give each other the love and appreciation. But in these times when people are like journeying on to another realm of life, I think it is important, that we take those times, and even through the pain of knowing what we are going to have in the future of not having them here physically, but to take those moments and have the moments to, say proper "see you laters" or whatever you want to say. In my family, we always say, "I'll see you in a whirlwind." And I remember yesterday, my father, when my children were around, he they was like, "Papa," he said, "I'm ready to go." And then he said, "Let's go." And we was like, "Where are you going?" And he shrugged his shoulders. And then later he said, "I'm going to the whirlwind." And, and we all know what that means. So it was just beautiful to see my aunt and my father have that moment as siblings, because, we're children. So we look at them as these adults. But to see that their sibling love for each other feels so powerful. And, and she's, like, she keeps telling him, "I was supposed to go before you," but I see that she's handling it in such a beautiful way that she's still taking care of her baby brother. And so I'm just thankful. And I pray that others are able to have these moments with their families in these times as well.
All right. May the Most High be praised. May the Most High be praised. Does anyone else want to go? Anyone else have anything else they wanted to say? Anyone? Okay. Well, I wanted to just, before I even acknowledge the Creator in my thanks, some things that was said, I wanted to just mention. I watched a documentary not too long ago, a couple of days ago actually, and it talked about the power of love. And so many of us misunderstand what love is, and especially the power of it, the dynamics of it, the strength of it. And when a person is sick, love can help in the healing process. When a person is off their rockers in their mind going through depression, love can help in the healing process. So, Iman, what I'm saying is you witness that, you experience that to bring you healing as well, to cause you to know that it's okay for your father to do and take that journey that he had to take. The healing from you witnessing the love between the two of them, the emotions that are brought upon you, made you a lot more comfortable with what was taking place with your father. So that's a blessing within itself, that the Most High had enough compassion on you to allow that to take place. First, to put the spirit in you to cause you to set up that platform, and then for you to witness what was transpiring between the two of them. That was pure love. That was a love, and love is an energy. Love is a verb, it's emotion, and it's a beautiful thing. You know, I have some people, I have one of my Nasheen in my life right now that I have to express more love to because she's going through some terrible, troubled times, but we're going to get through it. We're going to make it happen. We're going to do what we got to do. But we got to understand, family, that love is extremely important. And you know, love is not about a sexual attraction. I don't understand. I explained to a brother the other day that I had 4 Nasheen, but I'm not sexually involved with all 4. He found that no, it can't be. That's something. Love, it goes beyond the bounds of sexual gratification and pleasure. That's how you know a lot of people don't know what love is. They don't understand the true meaning and definition and purpose of love. So many of us are confused, and most of us confuse love with lust. And that's not what it is. It's not that at all. So I'm in my acknowledgement to the Most High, I'm thankful that He allowed me to return back here to Philadelphia from one home to another. Even to just have multiple homes to go to is a blessing beyond words, something that I really just can't comprehend for those who haven't experienced it. May the Most High allow you to experience it. But I've been without a home, so I know what it's like to have a home. And then to have multiple homes. And when I say 2, one home to the other, that's just 2. But we have others that we have homes at where we can go and rest our head and eat, and we got keys and we can do what we need to do. But that's how it's supposed to be with every Israelite brothers and sisters. They're supposed to be able to exchange that type of union in all of their houses. I mean, my brother who lives across from me should have keys to my house, and I should have keys to his house. And if I need, I can go in and do what I need to do. And if he needs, he can go in and do what he needs to do. And we have that trust. So I thank the Creator for that blessing. Because, you know, life is not promised to any of us. And as I was traveling on a plane, you know, it's funny, but every time I get on the plane, probably like a lot of other people, I said, this might be it. This might be the last day. Plane probably gonna crash and everything is probably gonna be over for me, but you know, they in pretty good condition, so they should be cool. This is how we have to prepare our lives for the departure, because we never know when it's going to happen. Creator forbid that it happens anytime soon. I was given 120 years. I expect to see that. But if it be that I'm wrong, and it be any other day, every man should have his household established. That if he, Creator forbid, but if he is to pass, that his Nasheen, his Isha, his Yeladim, his children, that they'll all be taken care of to the best of his ability while he was there after he leaves. Matter of fact, they'll probably be living a little bit better than they were when I was here. Their little hearts probably be hurting because they'll miss me, but financially they'd be a little bit better off, you know. But not just me, but we all should keep that type of spirit in mind, because life insurance is extremely important. And I thank the Creator for putting that in my mind to establish that principle for my family, that if something happens to me, they're taken care of and provided for. So I would applaud you all to do the same thing. So I'm not just saying things just so you can hear, so it sounds like I'm bragging. I don't want to brag, and I don't brag at all. That's not what this is about. This whole learning process from the 11 o'clock hour to about the 7 o'clock hour at night, it's all a learning process, and everything that I say is about your edification, to educate you to a better way of life, even when I'm thinking the Most High, like right now. So I'm just thankful for all the things that the Father has done for us in our spirit, in our essence. You know, He brings the struggles in our lives for us to fight through. Like when I was sitting in a room with my wife, and my son was leaning up against my chest, she takes his bottle and gives him his bottle. I pushes the bottle away. He reaches out for the bottle. She picks it up and gives it to her. I pushes it away. She didn't understand what I was doing, so she reached up and picked it up and tried to give it to him again. I pushed it away again. Then she caught on, and my son began to fall forward and crawl over and reach out for his bottle. Now, what we have to learn in life is that anything we want in life, we have to learn at a young age to be go-getters, to go get what we want in life and not just wait for everybody to give us what we need. So a lot of us, I understand why a lot of people do what they do, because they have to go out and get to bring to themselves. And I don't fault anyone for that, anyone who has made that decision. You know, it's a beautiful thing. And it's something that we all need to teach our children so that when they grow into adults, they themselves will be go-getters. So I thank the Most High for putting that type of understanding in my mind, where I'm able to accept a lot of situations and conditions a lot easier than a lot of others. A lot of others be angry, mad, upset, and frustrated because you did what you have to do for you. And I understand that. So let's fight, family. Let's get up and let's all do what we have to do to provide for ourselves, our family, our loved ones. And let's do as I taught my child, and let's go get what we're supposed to get. May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabbah. Toda Rabbah. All right, family. Is it time for us to begin the lesson? Or is it any other comments that we need to share?
Lesson time.
Lesson time? Oh, man.
Avante, Tyreek, go ahead.
I got a comment.
Okay.
I just want to say that I'm truly thankful just to be able to come back into the Knesset. As I've been sitting in here, you know, I don't know, spirit is just, you know, it's kind of, you know, it just feels good, you know what I mean? It's the spirit, you know what I mean, coming over you and just listening to everything that's being said and feeling everything that's being said. You know, I'm just thinking. You know, I didn't realize how long. I didn't realize how long I really was away from the connection. But I'm just grateful that to be able to be in here, be able to be a part of worship and feel like I'm a part of worship again. You know, it's one thing to watch online, but I'm thankful to be able to be in here in the house. You know what I mean? And so thankful to be able to hear everything that's being said. It's really been edifying for me. It's really just giving my spirit a lot of love. Because one thing I was thinking about right before you went into love is that as a people, it's just very important. You know what I'm saying, that we do just love each other. You know what I mean, that we love each other, that we love our family. You know what I mean, we take care of each other. It's very, very important. And that's something that's just been on my spirit. While I was traveling, going to different places. I was thankful to be able to mend certain relationships and be able to, certain things with certain family members that you may have been holding on to, being able to have conversations and being able to come, just to get across that hump. I'm thankful, what I'm saying? And most times, love is always going to overcome whatever problem, whatever tribulation, whatever, anything that you're going through, love is going to always overpower it, And sometimes people, when people are going through certain things in life, it's like you said, people just need love. They don't. I always say the best thing to give a person is what they need and not what you want to give them. You know what I mean? And all that is at the end of the day is being able to give a person love. You might want to give them something else. They might do something to you and you want to give them this. Or you want to give them hatred back. You know what I'm saying? They give you hatred and you want to give it back to them. But, you have to give people what they need. And most times, people just need, love. And I'm not, and like you said, not in a place of lust or a sexual desire, but just a place of genuineness, pureness. And yeah, it don't take much. It don't take much to show that love. So I'm grateful to be back in the house. I feel like myself because I'm talking and doing my thing. So, hallelujah.
May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. What I want to say, because Rabbein touched on something important. He said, genuine, pure love.
Mm-hmm.
And that was profound. And why I say it's profound is because most people don't understand what genuine, pure love is. We're so used to love with a motivating factor behind it. Like it's something I want from you, something I'm going to get from you, something I need. And I'm going to disguise my actions to get what I need from you. And whether it be sex, whether it be money, whether it be shelter, no matter what it is, people just, pretend that this love thing is real, but they hide it. But a genuine love, we're so used to getting the corrupt version of love that most of us have no idea of what genuine love look like.
Right.
We think that person that's expressing it is weak, is soft, is a punk, is dumb, he's stupid, she's stupid. They don't know what they're doing, but all they're doing is expressing genuine love. And most of our people today, with the mind state that we're in, with the Europeans corrupting real love, begin to understand what love is. Most. So I just want to stop off with that. We so far removed from it is saddening. So let's switch the script and let's change the page a little bit. Giving all praises and glory to the Most High King of all creation. Asking that He will guide my mind, my spirit, my body, my language, and my speech as I approach unto you, His people. May the Most High be praised. From everlasting to everlasting, He is King. So I have prepared a whole lesson. Actually, I didn't have to do much writing because I already had the lesson already written. And we're going to read from that. So I took 2 lessons that I had prepared and I mingled them together. But what I did was, before presenting my lesson, I did a little bit more further research on marriage. I talked to my wife last night or this morning. I don't know. It was last night or this morning. I think it was last night at dinner. So we sit down at the table eating, and I said to her, what would you like for tomorrow's lesson to be on? She said, how about marriage? I said, okay, no problem. Then that's what we'll do. I was going to ask y'all when I got here today, say, hey, what y'all want today's lesson to be on? And let y'all throw some ideas out there. And then I go in my box, pull out a hat, and then we'll have a lesson or whatever it is that you discussed. That's how you know when you got a teacher in your midst. I like that. So anyway, I went and I grabbed a lesson. I mingled them together, did a little bit more research, got some results, gathered some results, put it in writing. And now I have something here for you today, the correct way to do polygyny. Now, I have to put these bounds on it because this is my interpretation of the correct way, the best way to do polygyny, according to what I have gathered through my 39 and a half years of life here doing what I do, 39 and a half years of this life. You put that in quotes, y'all. That 39, y'all know that's not the accurate number, but that's my number. That's for me. I've had, plenty of women that I was married to over the years. 1, 2, 3, I guess about 8 in total. I guess maybe about 8, 4 currently. So the other ones got kicked to the curb for one reason or another. And a lot of that will be explained through today's lesson. A lot of those things will come out. I wanted to read a little bit of the history on marriage so that we would begin to understand what marriage is about. The history of marriage from our ancient forefathers. And in order for me to read this, It's going to be a few minutes, and I'm going to do my very best because it's in real small writing, real small in a dictionary. It's actually a biblical dictionary of some people who did research on our ancient forefathers, the nation of Israel and surrounding nations, to determine how marriages was ran, orchestrated, and conducted in the ancient days. And a lot of this is for the reason because we've gotten so far away from our Eastern thought. When we came here in the West, they corrupted our minds and taken our minds into all these different places, and our concepts of life and reality, even love and romance, has been distorted with the Europeans' version of life, or the Europeans' answer to a lot of these things. I also have a video that I want to play for us today that's going to last about 12 minutes, and I have to play the entire video because it is so impactful. We have a young lady who speaks about polygyny. I thought it was in a very profound way that a lot of us should hear a lady's perspective on polygyny, and not always coming from the man's side of you, because we men, we can give it, but to hear it from a female is completely different, but yet still accurate, just completely different. So family, if you ever decide that you want to do something, please like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and go out and invite some of your friends to come in that may be married, may be looking for a husband, may need a husband, may want a husband, or that's already married, got a husband, and having difficulty in their relationships. Please, this room should be jam-packed right now. We should have over 2,000 people in this room, all Hebrew, so that we can educate our people to the correct way of how life should be for us. All right? Let me see what my sister said. It looks like it's interesting. Another topic, compound rights and treatments. All that's coming out today, sis. I heard a woman say once, romance coming from Rome has no place in the African mind. That reality made me think, and she's absolutely correct. It's a European concept, the whole practice of a woman wanting to be blown away off of her feet because he does all these wonderful things is garbage. But because we have subscribed to the Western thought, it's our reality now, like the white picket fence and 2 children. And that's European. Look at the average European, 2 children, 1, 2, maybe 3, most of them. Until you get into the average European that's about his race, like we call them racists, neo-Nazis, those individuals usually have large families, because they understand something that goes against the Western traditions of marriage, relationships. So let me read this. Please, family, go out, share, subscribe, invite some of your children, some of your brothers, some of your sisters, anyone that you choose, bring them in, because there's a lot for us to cover today. The correct way to do polygyny. We're going to start off with marriage, and I'm going to read from this dictionary here, the NIV Bible Dictionary. It's a very good book, and if anyone's interested in copying one, the ISBN number is 0310331900. It's a very good book. I believe that's a 0. Is that a 0 or Q? 0. Very good book. And I don't think they would have any problems with us advertising their books because they like sales. It's all over the internet. The book is all over the internet. You can always go to the internet and pull it up. It's a very good version, very good book. But this reading is going to take me some time, so please don't go anywhere. Take out your pens, your paper, your notepads, because when I come back, before I go into the lesson, I would like to take questions, if there are any questions. This class doesn't have to be the traditional class. This class can go based on how you see fit that you want it to go. So if we need to stop and we need to answer some questions, then we'll do that. If we need to take the rest of the class to explain the situation, then we'll do that. We can always get into the rest of the class later. That's the wonderful thing that the Creator's allowed us to be able to do. And that's to alter our class and our teachings as we see fit, as we see necessary, to expand the minds of the listener. All right? So here we go. Marriage, the formalization and sanctification of the union of man and woman for the procreation of children. So the first thing he said was that marriage is for the procreation of children. But as you all know, today, marriage is about sex, having somebody you can have intercourse with, somebody you can have as a lifelong partner to live long with and to grow old with, and all that's good. But the primary role, as the Most High said in the scriptures, was be fruitful and multiply. And we have to keep that in mind. So we have to be fruitful and multiply if we're able to be fruitful and to multiply. Now, if you're not able to, because there's a lot of women and a lot of men, both the same, who are not able to multiply, it doesn't mean that you can't get married. You can still get married and you can make every attempt that you can to be fruitful and multiply. But if you cannot, then you have not violated the laws of the Most High willingly. It wasn't your fault that you did not or could not. So please don't feel bad and don't take that to heart because you have not had children as of yet. The thing is that you attempt to do it. And as long as you're attempting to do it, may the Most High have compassion and mercy if you have not been successful. Just like everything else in life, you can only attempt to do it. It's up to the Most High to bless it. And if he has not blessed your womb as of yet, it doesn't mean that he's not going to bless your womb. So just be patient, continue on in the process, strengthen yourself in life so that when that child does come or those children do come, that you're better in position to provide for them. Study how to be a wife, study how to be a husband, because a lot of today in our society, a lot of males was raised without good men examples in the household to teach them how to be men, how to be husbands, how to be providers and protectors and caregivers. It wasn't taught to a lot of us in our youth. Therefore, if you got a good man in your life, sit up underneath of him and talk to him and allow him to teach you how to do these things. Because in today's time, it's a big shortage on males who know how to be men, who learned it from their youth. The common Hebrew term, lakach. Now, anybody who understands Hebrew understands lakach means to take. Lakach. And it means to take in marriage. It should be seen in association with the verb ba'al. Now, watch this. Ba'al is to be mastered or rule or possessed in marriage. So in terms, what they're saying is that a man should take a woman and master over her. Now, what am I saying? Because I hear you. I hear a lot of people right now, there ain't nobody ruling and mastering over me. That terminology don't make no sense. But that's that Western mindset. For our women, our female counterparts of the ancient Israelite mindset understood that my man is my master. Think about it. Sarah, our mother, Sarah, even called Abraham Adoni, which means my master or Lord over me. She called him Adoni, which means my Lord, my master. But today, when another Israelite sister says he's my master, they are highly offended about that. And a lot of reason why they're highly offended is because the Western mind state that we have has prevented us from being acclimated into the natural state of our forefathers. Hence, the lesson today, the correct way to do polygyny. Even that name polygyny within itself causes a lot of female in an Israelite culture to go into convulsions. Oh no, I can never, that will never be me. If he can't, if I'm not enough, it won't. No, that's not the way it goes. That's not the way it's supposed to be. I have never seen anywhere in the scriptures, and this lady's going to talk about this later on, and I happen to agree with her. But I've never seen anywhere in the scriptures where the Creator said you have to have one wife. I have never seen that. I've nowhere located in the scriptures where the Creator says that I'm creating man and that man should only have one wife. I've never seen it. You know, but who knows? Maybe one day somebody will bring it up and somebody will show it to me and reveal it to me and cause me to understand it. But I have seen many times in the scriptures where the Creator has allowed for a man to have multiple nashim. Matter of fact, the Creator even told Dawid that if you would have asked for another wife, then I would have given them to you. That doesn't sound like it's a violation in the eyes of the Almighty. Okay, let's read on a little bit more. So in a marriage, it means that this man that's taking you, he will rule over you. He will master you. And a lot of men, you have to understand what it means to master a woman. Okay, or possesses in marriage, as well as with the noun Baal, master, lord, or husband. A comparable NIT, well, I don't want to get into the NIT. Historically, as Hebrew society developed from nomadic to village attachment to village settlements, more complex customs and feasts became associated with the ceremony of marriage. And in the Christian era, it became regarded as a sacrament. Normally, the bride left her family at marriage, and from that time, she and subsequently her children became part of her husband's family or clan. And you find that in Genesis 24. And as such part of their responsibility also, the wife and the children became the responsibility of the man's family. Not just the man, but the man's family. Now I'm going to cease from reading this, but it's so much more I wanted to read. And I'm going to cease from reading it because we have a whole lot of other things to get into that I think I can explain to you in a better terms. All right, so I'm going to put this book down. And we're going to go and deal with our lesson. All right? Because I don't want to chase anybody off. Oh, Prince, it took so long to get to the main beef of this lesson. But every part of the lesson is main beef, if you but understand. So let's deal with this part here and let's see where we at. May the Most High be praised. Let's go. Y'all ready? Let me know if you are.
This topic is for every Black person. They need to hear this. And the topic is polygamy, prophecy. Prophecy is being fulfilled. And I want to take you guys to the scriptures, to this very famous scripture, Isaiah chapter 4, which says, "And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own food, and we wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by your name." This prophecy has been fulfilled already and is being fulfilled only right now. Zimbabwean women absolutely despise me. They can't even stand my countenance. They can't stand my words because even the Bible says a prophet is without honor in their own land. I tell these women the truth and they can't stand it. In the whole of Africa, they are the most loose women. Even West African men knows it. They go around giving it for free. They literally give their coochies for free all over Africa. They go to Nigeria and they give it for free. They go to Ghana, they give it for free. They are known to be the concubines of West Africans. It's a proven fact. Then when a Zim brother comes and says, you know what, I want to take away your reproach, my sister, they say, pay lobola for me. When even in the culture of Zimbabwe, lobola is for virgins. It's for women who are chaste, who take care of themselves and who value their virginity. In Zimbabwe now, it's unheard of for a woman to get married a virgin. It's actually unheard of. And they had to shut down. There's a guy called Tinashe Mugabe, and he was doing DNA tests in Zimbabwe. And it was proven that almost 1 in every 2 Zimbabwean men are looking after children who are not theirs. So he was about to shut the whole country down because the whole country was in confusion because all the men were looking after babies who are not their own. That's Zimbabwean women for you. And they had to shut that guy down because he was about to close the country down. Every Zimbabwean man has got a side chick. And if you guys are listening to me, Zimbabwean men, keep it up. Do not, it's your birthright. Listen to me. I'm your prophetess. It's a birthright of every black man in this world to have at least 2 wives. It's the culture of black people. Our history, our power is actually rooted in polygamy. Our forefathers, our grandfathers were all polygamists. Don't get it twisted. So all these black men are waking up. Even back in Zimbabwe, every man has got what they call a small house. A small house is like a second wife. It's the birthright of every black man. And I'll tell you something. All these people in the Bible, the Lamechs, the King David, the King Solomon, they were black people. Only black people and Asian people do polygamy because it's the culture of our forefathers. That all these forefathers who had many wives were black because it's black culture to have many wives. It's in the DNA of every black man. That's why in America, they all do side chicks. Side chicks are only popular in black people because every black man needs more than one wife. And I'm telling you guys, the raw truth you don't want to hear. Black women, I want you to listen to me. You are not going to be able to change this man. And right now, polygamy is trending with black men. They are waking up. And I'm talking to black women. Now, all of you, there is a reason why the black man is waking up to who he is. Don't even get it twisted. And no black woman is going to keep the black man down. You're not going to do it. These boys and men are rising up. And whether you like it or not, most of you live in polygamy. You claim no man will cheat on me, but most of your husbands have got side chicks. And the side chick will be hotter. The side chick will be more pretty because the side chicks knows how to look after themselves. Once you get married, you black women, once a man marries you, you let yourself go. You don't even go to the gym. You don't look after yourself. You just let yourself go. No wonder why the men have to go and look for a side chick to feel like a man again. Most of you have got no respect for your husbands. I'm talking to black women. You've got no respect for the black man. You don't even support his hustle. You guys want a ready-made black man. And you guys, most of you are single women and single mothers because you think you're so special. You think you're so special. And that's why the richest black man would rather go for a white woman. It's so sad, but it's the reality. Because you guys, you look down upon your own men. You don't even respect them. When they're poor, when they're trying to hustle to the top, you don't want them. You just want the man when he's ready-made. But guess what, guys? You black women are the fulfillment of this prophecy. In that day, you're going to get hold of one black man. All of you, you'll get hold of him. And you say, let us be called by your name. We'll buy our own wedding rings. We'll buy our own wedding gowns. We'll sponsor our own weddings. But please, just marry us. And on that topic, I have written a polygamy erotic book, which is going to be coming out very soon in print. But right now, if you go on my blog, jeangasho.com, I've got 2 chapters on it so far. I'm going to put 5 chapters. And it's very rare for even a woman to write a polygamy novel. Don't even get it twisted. But my eyes are open. My eyes are open. And this book is also based on this scripture in that day, but it's erotic. It's very beautiful. It's modern. I put my heart and soul into it. So if you want to know more about polygamy in modern times, you have to go on my blog and read my book. And Asian women are chaste. They value their men. That's why they don't divorce at a record level. There's no epidemic of single mothers within the Asian community because they know the value of a woman. They respect their husbands and they believe in polygamy. In Islam, polygamy is well respected. The women know and they respect polygamy, that their husbands are allowed 4 wives in Islam. Islam is a far better religion than Christianity. At least they are honest. You guys, you call yourself Christians, yet you hate the God of Israel. The God of Israel, all his men were polygamists. The God of Israel loves polygamy, and you claim you're Christians. Islam is a far better religion than Christianity. I'm putting it out there. At least it's true. And the people are not hypocrites. They actually honor their religion. What about Christian women? You refuse to even submit to your own husband. Yet you are told in your own book, submit to your husband. Whatever your husband says goes. It's just the raw truth. Respect the black man. And you go to church every single Sunday. When you come in the house, you can't even honor your husband. I have black women who get shocked. Why do you call your husband Lord? Well, Sarah, I got it from Sarah. The Bible, it's so shocking how much you hate the God of Israel. You Christian black women. No wonder you're all single. You so hate the God of the Bible, the God of Sarai, the God of Sarah. I follow the God of Sarah, and my foremother is Sarah. I copy her. She called her husband Lord. It's there even in the New Testament. And yet everyone asks me, why do you call your husband Lord? Well, my foremother called her husband Lord, and it's commanded in the New Testament that be like Sarah, who called her husband Lord. Every black woman should bow before her husband and call him Lord, because that's what Sarah did. And she was so righteous, she took her maid and gave it to her husband. She actually she invented her own form of polygamy, giving her own handmaid to her husband. A good woman gets a second wife for her husband. That's what good women do. They actually are the ones who will bring a wife and say, my beloved husband, please, this is your second wife. That's what good women do. That's what Israelite women used to do. If you want to go back to true culture, true womanhood, a woman of valor gives a second wife to her husband. Leah did it. Rachel did it. That's how the 12 tribes of Israel were born. They were born in polygamy. It was the wives of Jacob who took their handmaids to give to their husbands. Even King David, Abigail took her own maidens and gave them to King David. King David had over 20 wives. He had 10 concubines, and that is holy. That is what a righteous man does. He has concubines. A good man should have at least 5 concubines. That's what righteous men do. And that's the blueprint of being a black man. I'm telling you the raw truth. And you guys, it's better for you to live a life of polygamy that you know than you black women who are always fighting side chicks. You live polygamy. Your husband still cheat on you. You can't stop a black man from cheating. It's in his DNA. They have to cheat. They want many women, and you black women are stopping them. They want polygamy. And we are now in an era where polygamy is a trend. You black women are not going to stop it. And I want every black man listening to me, wake up. That, oh, you only have one wife. That's a lie. The God of Israel never endorsed one wife. He never. That's why all his holy men, all the patriarchs had many wives. The God of Israel never once endorsed one wife. Never. So I want every black man listening to me to rise up. All of you go and take, if you've got one wife at home, go and take a second wife, and you see your first wife obey you. They'll go back to their place. They are so haughty, they are so rebellious because you give them power. Just don't be whoremongers. Don't go around just whoring. If you want a second wife, honor her. Put her in a house and make her your woman. Like, make it official. Don't even be afraid, my brothers. Don't be afraid of these women. He's a man of honor and he's a prophet. And he told me that, baby, this year and last year, the world is going to go back to innocence. If you guys don't understand, things are going back to what they were in the beginning, and you can't stop prophecy. You Black women are going to take hold of one man. And go on my blog, jeangasha.com. If you...
All right. Thank you, jeangasha.com. All right, family, as I promised, I will do the presentation, then we will take questions and answers. So, what are the questions? Let's give it a few minutes. Let's see what the questions are. Let's deal with a couple of questions first. And what is this man going to do with his wives plus 5 concubines? I think we need to hone in on the reality that someone is bound to be dismissed, deleted, or neglected. Okay, Sister Sharon, you posed a wonderful question. Wonderful question. Let's ideally say that this man has 5 wives. I mean, how many wives he got, Sister Sharon? Let's say 3 wives, and he got 5 concubines. That's 8 women in his life that he's responsible for. So the secret to all this is now there's 8 women in society that has a husband. Whereas if we did it the Western way, only 1 woman out of all 8 would have a husband. Now, there are 8 women who have an opportunity now to have their reproach taken away from them. Do you know how let's deal with the physical aspect before we deal with the spiritual aspect. Just dealing with the physical aspect. Do you know how hurtful it is for a woman to be 40 and 50 years old and never been married, not to have a husband? Most of the times that happened, but I bet you she got a bunch of children. And it's because we're living according to the Western understanding of life. But had she been able to be a man's 2nd or 3rd wife, or even a man's concubine, you notice I'm using the term man, because there's a difference between a man and a male. So if she had the opportunity to be a man's concubine, 2nd or 3rd wife, her life would be much more substantial than her being without a husband because she didn't want to practice polygyny. See, there's a difference there. It's a big difference. She has opportunity to things that she did not previously have opportunity to do before. Now, how could he possibly, as she said, how could he, in reality, that someone is bound to be dismissed, depleted, or neglected? I don't understand why someone would have to be dismissed, depleted, or neglected. Now, let's talk about the neglect part first. Neglected means to be ignored, to be not paid attention to not get what you need, to not receive what you need for your survival, and you're being neglected because your needs aren't being met. But if he's a man, there's no way that her needs, now I ain't say her desires, say nothing about her desires, but if, as a man, there's no way for a man to have 3 wives and 5 concubines, even 1 wife, and her needs not be met. See, there's a difference. The Western mind state that has corrupted us have us thinking that our desires are needs. Well, this is what I want. My wife, the one, I ain't gonna tell you which one. Y'all figure it out. One of my wives been asking me for some boots for a good 8-9 months now. I want these boots. Can you get me these boots? Oh, you know, Abba, I love these boots. I like these boots. Can you get me these boots? And she ain't got them boots yet. You know why? Because them boots ain't her need. Them boots is her desire. And there are so many other things in life that needs to be provided for and taken care of and situated prior to them getting their desires fulfilled. Now, along the way, you might fulfill a desire here and there and everywhere, you know, when you choose to, when you see fit, based on how you, as the Baal in the relationship, sees fit for it to happen. But if you're running around trying to fulfill a woman's desires, her necessities will lack. You won't be able to, unless you just filthy out of this ordinary way of life rich. The things of necessity, food, clothing, and shelter, peace, harmony, love, unity, those type of things must be fulfilled in life first before you start to worry about her desire, some new boots, a fancy car, a diamond ring, a big high hat. Those things are unnecessary. And a lot of the way that we see those things that we desire in our lives is because of the Western mindset that we have adapted. We've adopted this Western mindset, but it's not how our ancient forefathers speak. I got one wife, she's here, she's probably on the call now. She's listening in the background. And I remember several years ago, I went to go get her a new car. And the car was a Mercedes. It was a Mercedes Benz. It was a little coupe joint just for her. So when I go show her the car, she says, "Oh no, I don't want that." I said, "Why?" She says, "Because that's too expensive. I don't want anything like that. That's not what I want." She would not allow me, and I'm not going to do what she don't want me to do. I'm not just going to just force it, especially when it comes to me saving money. I'm not going to force it. She said, "I don't want that." And guess what? She didn't get that. But she got another car, but she didn't get that. She got something that was more low key, more affordable, and it didn't cost a whole lot of money. Me, I'm a prince. How I feel is we should have the best of everything. That's just how I feel. It's just how I do. And when I do spend money, I try to make it the best. If I got to save up money for 2 years to get something that I think I want to reward my wife with, that's what I'll do. I don't waste money, but if I see something that I want, I'll be patient and I'll build until I have enough finances put away to go get what it is that I desire for my wife to have, or some of her desires, if that's the case. But her necessities are things that must be met right now. So those 8 women that man had, Sister Sharon, all of their necessities will be filled. If not, you're right. Some will be diminished and some will be deleted because he had the realization, the understanding that he bit off more than he can chew. And if a man gets that, then quite naturally he has to go through the list and say, "Well, sis, I made a mistake. I married you. I'm not able to provide with you. Please forgive me, but I can't do this any longer." And if she's a good woman, she'll say, "That's okay. Just give me what you can." And you know what? If he's a righteous man, he will recognize the humility in her and move her up on the list. You know why? Because it's all about the state of the women when you're dealing with a polygynous relationship. A lot of men, and you're going to hear this later in my lesson, a lot of men think that they're the boss in a marriage, but we really not. And men, we gotta begin to understand this. The women really run the show. We just facilitate everything that's needed for them to do what they need to do. A lot of us don't understand that, but that's the reality of where we are. If you're really a man and you have multiple women, or even if you only got one woman, you out making sure that all the needs are met. That's why your woman has to be of a certain caliber in her mind to exercise her rights as the wife to make sure that everything is getting done. So who's really running it? She's running the show. You're orchestrating it from the background saying, "Hey, this is what we got to do. This is what we need." But in reality, she's making sure that it all gets done as far as the household is concerned. You making sure that we have what we need to provide, that she can do what she needs to do. But a lot of males are not that wise. They don't see as I see, but that's okay. And that's all right. So, sis, you brought up a very good point, and I appreciate that. I have a question. When the time is right on the panel. Okay, you can bring up your question now. This is what we're doing right now. If you have a question, ask your question.
Shalom, can you hear me?
Yes, Ishi, we hear you.
Okay. My comment first was that this was a very, very interesting video. The way that she explained Black men having like side chicks and things like that, that was actually how I explained it to some of my family members when we were courting Abba, and I introduced them to the idea of polygyny. That was actually how I explained it, and it made a lot of sense. So I'm glad she said that, because that just kind of took me back to that moment. And I think it just goes to really show that if polygamy really was accepted in the way righteously accepted and practiced, not that it has to happen for every man, but if it were practiced righteously, then way more families would be together because of that whole baby mom and side chick situation, all the things that all those types of things flood our community. So that was a good point. But my question is, she mentioned that the Most High never endorses one wife. My question is, and if Slika. My question is, what about the story of Adam and Eve in Genesis? Because we know that I think a lot of people use that story possibly to justify one wife situation, because Adam didn't have any other wives that we know of per se. So that's my question. What do we say, or how do we explain that to people that use the Adam and one wife perspective?
This is what I would do. I would ask that person, do you eat meat? And my Hebrew Bible scholars is laughing right now because they know exactly what I'm speaking about. That was the Creator introducing marriage to the earth. That was the Creator introducing how to reproduce people within the earth. Now, we would say, some people might say, because that was my thought as well, that lady, she's wrong, here it is. But that was my thought as well. But the reality of it is, the Creator never told Adam he couldn't take another wife. It just was no other women there for Adam at that time. And rather Adam had another wife later on in history, we don't know, because it's not talked about. But the reason why I asked them, do they eat meat? Is for this reason. Because when we was originally created, the Creator didn't make us to eat meat. He didn't give us meat to eat. Same way he only gave Adam one wife in the initial process. But along the duration of time, the Creator saw that we were doing something that he never ordained. And he said, he put his blessings upon it and said, okay, if you're going to do it this way. Same thing with polygyny. It might not have been the Most High's intention to give a man more than one wife. So we have to submit. Yes, that wasn't what he initially created Adam and took two of his ribs or opened up two of his sides and brought forth two substances from his sides. He could have did all that, but he didn't. He only took one. And from that, we have to conclude that the Creator's original intentions was to give Adam one wife. Doesn't mean that a man couldn't have more than one. He didn't give Adam a house or shelter to put over his head. He didn't give Adam clothes originally. Adam and Hawa was walking around naked in the garden. And eventually there was a need. And when that need came, what did he do? He adjusted and he allowed them to be accommodated with these things. He made provisions for these things. Same thing with a man having more than one wife. The Creator throughout the Tanakh has made provisions for a man to have more than one wife. As a matter of fact, it was Enoch's, it was Cain's son or grandson, who was the first one who had multiple wives. So it wasn't so far after Adam and Eve that men began to have multiple wives in life, in history. So it's really not so foreign. So I pray that would be an answer for you. Is that sufficient for you?
Okay, total Rabah. I think that the idea of that the meat question was a good example, but the only thing I would say to that is, how us being vegans, we do use that example and say, well, we should go back to the original intent. Someone could also say, well, with multiple wives, we should go back to the original intent, which was one wife, right? So what could be said about that? If we're going to use that same meat argument there.
Prince, I used to do a lot of debating. I heard my wife say she don't do no debating. I used to do a lot of debating. So now you got the debating spirit coming back on me again. So here we go.
Okay.
You said What would happen if if the person would say, let's go back to the original when it came to the wives? We don't have the original food anymore. This slop what we eat called meat, it's not the original meat. Even a lot of the vegetables that we eat are not original vegetables. And when we find vegetables that's not original, we try to alleviate that from our diet, like broccoli, kale, carrots, those type of things. We try to move those out of our diet. But now we do have original women still walking around the earth, except for their minds. A lot of their minds are gone. But if you go, as Nasik said earlier, and you find the remnant of the remnant and you deal with them, their minds are intact. They understand the necessity of allowing our people to procreate in the earth. They understand the necessity that there's a shortage of men in the earth. I believe my lesson is going to speak about that too. It's like 10 to 1, 10 women to every 1 man, I believe it is, which shows that if 8 of those women, as we talked about earlier, belong to that 1 man, then that would decrease the deficiency that we have with dealing with the shortage of women to men ratio. So that's an important thing. So there you go. That will be my answer to that individual. That's how I would approach that. And if more clarification was needed, then I would give more clarification, and we embark further into that conversation. All right. Are there any other questions or comments you have?
Toda Rabah. I have another one, but I'll wait.
No, come on. Ask your question now. Get it all out. There's no need in prolonging it. Get it out.
Okay. I'm going to go back to Occult Sharon's question, which is, I think, a question that a lot of women ask themselves, even myself, when we were recording, about, not having enough time, neglect, and things like that. So what can we talk about, like, I guess, what should a woman expect in, like, okay, can we talk about how much time, I guess, a woman should expect to spend with the Abba, the man of the household, if she is in a polygamous marriage, whether it be 2 wives or more? Because I think that is a general fear among the sisters. Like, how much time would I be able to spend with this man? Is it going to dwindle over time? Is it going to get better over so maybe that's just something. I don't know if you can talk about that, Abba, for sure, but maybe that's something us women, we could talk about as well on the panel too. So just throwing that out there.
Well, you brought that up for me, so I'm going to address that issue. Okay. Again, that's that Western mindset. When the Western mindset comes in, there are a lot of variables that causes problems, that poses issues for us in our marriage in an Eastern mindset. Here it is, or in an Eastern mindset as when it pertains to marriage, pertaining to polygyny. Here it is. In the ancient days, our people fought a lot of wars. Would y'all acknowledge that? Our forefathers, they went off to war quite often. Do y'all recall these things? For those of us who are here, do you recall this? If you read all through the Tanakh, there were times when we had wars. Well, these wars would last for years sometimes. And they would rarely even see their husbands. They barely saw them. But with this European mindset, they have given us a traditional life now, replacing our cultural mindset. And in this traditional life that they have given us, the man comes home to you every day after 8 hours of work. Y'all lay together, y'all eat dinner together, you go to sleep, you wake up, he goes back to work, and you go to cleaning the house, and you raise the children, send the children to school. You don't see him till about 8 to 10 hours later. You're still sleeping for how many hours of the day? Usually they say get at least 8 hours of sleep. So that's 16 hours out of the day that you already don't see your husband, based on the traditional values that the European mindset have given us. Now, for those 16 hours that you don't see him, how many hours you got left? Maybe another 3 or 4? Let me think for a minute. 8. Let me think. 16. Yeah, you got another 8 hours left. So out of that another 8 hours left, What are you guys really doing but getting ready for bed, winding down, getting something to eat, chilling? This is a concept that Dave's given us. But in the ancient days, life was different, because while he was out making the money, you bringing the money home for you to do what you had to do, or he's out teaching, or he's out working in a different manner, or out with the children, raising the boys, teaching the boys how to be men, all those types of things, you barely saw him anyway, until he was done and he came home, spent time with you, let's say maybe another 8 hours. But when situations came about and he had to leave your presence because he had work to do, be mindful of what I'm saying. He had to leave you because he had work to do. We dealing with a one woman or multiple marriages. He had work to do. They all was without him while he went and did what he had to do. Now, if you got a husband and your husband is spending a whole lot of time around you, then you ain't really got a husband. I just got to be clear with you. Either y'all getting welfare checks, or you the breadwinner, or something wrong with him. He's sick, or something going on that ain't right. Because any man that spends most of his time around a female is not being a man. He's not being productive. He's not being a provider. He's not out doing the things that men need to do. And you can't teach your young men, if you have young men, you can't teach your men how to properly live if you are spending so much time at home. Now, when you're not spending that much time at home, you got your boys, they're out with you. When they're old enough, they're out with you. So they're learning manly things. You come home to your wife, the home is supposed to be a place of paradise, bliss, awesomeness. When you come in that door, she had all day to prepare things to make it a pleasure for you. But in the Western mind state today, a lot of the females that's out here today are not looking to make home a pleasure for you. They're not worried about when you come home how enjoyable it's going to be to welcome your presence. They don't run to the door and kiss you, hug you, and thank the Creator for your life. They don't do those things because the European Western mindset has placed within us a form of selfishness. It's about me. How does he make me feel? How does he please me? What does he do for me? How does he bring me pleasure? That's what it's all about, trying to get what you can get out of the relationship for your benefit with your Western mind state. But our ancient forefathers didn't live like that. Our women understood, and I didn't even got to go back thousands of years. I can go back less than 100 years. In the 30s, the 40s, the 20s, the struggle was real. And our men did what they had to do to survive. Sure, they spent a little bit of time here and there. They did with their women. But it was not the majority of the time. And our lives was a lot better then. Divorce rate was almost zero in our community. Today, with the mind state that we have today, as westernized as we are, the divorce rate is over 50%. It's over 50%. And 85 to 90% of that is initiated by women because they're unhappy. Ask them. Ask the average woman why she got divorced. I'm unhappy. It's because this Western mind state don't work with us. They gave us poison intentionally to hold us back. Well, we can fix all that, family, because it ain't about you. Stop thinking it's about you. That man don't think it's about him when he out there grinding, trying to survive, trying to get creative to bring income into the house, to try to provide a roof, shelter, clothing. He takes that seriously because it's a serious situation for him. And for you to be home, well, I only get to see my husband 2 weeks out of a month. You ought to be thanking the Creator you get to see him at all. At all. Because there's a lot of women who don't have a husband. They can't even get that little morsel of a husband. So be thankful that you get to see him at all. And change the way you think. I told my wife the other day, it's all about how you see things. It's about the perception in how you see things that determines how acceptable you are of that thing. And we can't look at it, well, I got to see my husband 3, 4, 5 times a week. There may be times when you won't see your husband for a month, 2 months even. Our forefathers, sometimes they didn't see him for a year, 3 years even. Think about this story for a minute. Remember Dawid? When Dawid, it's a bad example, but it's an example. when Dawid committed adultery with who was her name? What was her name? What was the lady's name that Dawid committed adultery with?
Bathsheba.
Bathsheba, correct. Thank you. Remember when Dawid committed adultery with Bathsheba? Who was her husband's name? Anybody know her husband's name? What was Bathsheba's husband's name? Come on, the Hittite. Come on, y'all. What's his name? Now, see, you got it.
Are you talking about?
Now, see, what you say?
Uriah the Hittite.
Uriah the Hittite. Remember when Dawid committed adultery with Uriah the Hittite? Remember that? With his woman? Remember that? His wife? Where was Uriah at when Dawid committed adultery with her? All that time that he was, doing what he was doing, where was he at? He was out to war. A lot of times, women don't get to see their husbands because we're always in warfare, conquering, destroying, destruction. But you know what the important thing was? When Dawid was in his house, he looked over and he saw Bathsheba in her house on the balcony. Because how did she have a house? Because she was being provided for. She was a very unfaithful woman. I'm not saying what she did was right. She was completely out of order. But she was being provided for. Her husband wasn't able to go and be there with her every night. But he was providing, which is one of the duties of a husband. He was providing. His heart was with her, as his heart was with his men as well. But his heart was with her. He was providing for her, making sure she was provided for. She had food, clothing, shelter. She had all the things that was necessary in life. She had, because she had a husband providing for her. Who knows if she was the first wife? Who knows if she was his only wife? He may have had several wives, but according to the prophet, I would assume that it was his only wife, because when the prophet came, the prophet prophesied that the man's only sheep. So I would assume she was the only wife. But let it be known, family, when we so focus on spending so much time with our women, first of all, a man should not be around his woman all day, every day. Minimum amount of time spent with a woman. Minimum amount of time, even if they all work together. What I'm saying, if y'all work together to make y'all money and y'all at home, then that's a different story. But if you got to go out and provisions and provide and you can't stay away from her, so you got to take her with you, or you got to not say take her with you, because you ain't going to take her with you. Chances of you taking your wife to work with you, they're not going to allow her in the facility, usually, if that's the case. But a lot of men refuses to spend time away from their women. So if they refuse to spend time away from their women, how are they going to even open up for a second or third or fourth wife? It will be almost impossible. It can't happen. But with the Israelite culture mind that our forefathers gave us, like they gave us, men spend very little time at home. Men spend more time out doing what they were doing and very little time at home. And if we had little boys, those little boys was with us, learning how to be men. And if you look at the average guy today, I mean, I don't mean to be embarrassing to anyone, but what man did you have in your life to teach you how to be a man? Who was it? Did your father teach you? Or did somebody else teach you? Or did you learn along the way? And if you learned along the way, ask yourself, what did I learn wrong? Because a lot of times how a man deals with a female, they're learning along the way. And that is eventually going to end up being their demise later on in life. If you want to go in for the long haul, there's a way that you deal with your female counterparts. There's a certain amount of time that you allotted if you're going to be a provider and y'all not working together. If y'all working together from home, that's a different story. But if you're going to be a provider, then there's a limited amount of time that you can do and provide luxurious things in this life, if that's your desire. So I would pray that would answer the question about somebody feeling like they're missing out on time. Time is not the key component to this. The key component to this is having a husband, having provisions, being provided for, being protected, all those great things is the benefit. And time is secondary. Time is an illusional state that they put into us to make us feel like we're missing out on something. Think about it for a second. Another thing. That's why women were so determined to have children by their husbands. Because a lot of that was to give them that comfort so that they will feel a sense of fulfillment in their lives pouring into their children. Your husband is not your child. And if your husband is being treated like your child, something is wrong with your husband. And he needs to have a man in his life to teach him how to be a man. So I don't want to go too much further on that. I think I've covered a lot with that. Are there, Iman, did you see any other questions pop up in the room that I might have missed? I did see some pop up.
I don't, let me see. I see, yeah, there was a couple of questions and comments.
Did you go all the way up as far as you can go?
Still scrolling, babe, to get to the.
All right.
So the first question I saw was Yoel's question, and she asked, I read that Cain was the first one to have multiple wives. The enemy convinced him to do so for his own gain. This was from the book of Remembrance. Any idea about that? And then her second question to that question is also, why would we want to do something that Cain and his descendants do? ? Considering his character in the scriptures.
Okay. Now, to answer your question, Cain did not have multiple wives that we have on record in scripture. And if you can find that, then you'll be teaching me something that I overlooked. As I stated earlier, it was Cain's grandson, or either his son or his grandson, that was the first person in the scriptures that had multiple wives. And I'm trying to, Zerubbabel, I can't remember his name. I can't remember which his son's name was, but his son or his grandson was the first one who had multiple nashim. And there's nothing wrong with having multiple nashim. There's nothing wrong with having multiple nashim. The thing that's wrong with having multiple women is if you don't have the right mind state in a woman, then that's a wrong thing to do. The second thing is if you as a man are not in the right mind state, understanding your roles and responsibilities as a man and standing your principles as a man, then that's the wrong thing to do. If you can't afford to have more than one wife, and I'm not talking about buying them all them luxurious things. They ain't got to have Gucci. They ain't got to have Louis. They can have Walmart. Yeah, I'm not saying that that's always the best thing to do, but you have to have a wife with a contrite spirit, a humble spirit, one that's not boastful and want the greatest and the grandest and trying to keep up with the Joneses. When you get that kind of woman, she's a bad mate for multiple marriages. You have to have a woman that's willing to accept what you bring to her, but when you bring to her, bringing it because that's the best you were able to do. You don't want to just be thrifty and mistreat your wife, disrespect your wife by giving her the cheapest of things and the worst of things. You always want to give her the best of whatever you're able to do. At the best, the strength of your hand, that's what you provide for her. If you're able to provide Louis and Fendi and Gucci and all those things, and it's not a hurt to you, then do so. But if you can't, don't be going out of your mind trying to provide her desires over her necessities. Once you get the necessities in place, then you can step further and deal with the desires. We have to understand that. But a man being a man will understand those things. There's a lot of males that are in men's bodies that are not men. They're males. And a lot of those things they don't understand. A lot of the components to having a wife and, let's say, mastering the relationship, they don't understand. Before we go to the next question, the correct way to do polygyny and the correct way to be married, period, is through truth, honesty, and transparency. And don't forget the Most High. The Most High should be the very first thing you master in life. And the second thing you master in life should be you. Master you. Know who you are. Know what your desires are, your limited, your capabilities, your strengths. Understand these things about yourself before you splurge out and bring a woman into your life. You have to master self. You have to be truthful, you have to be honest, and you have to be transparent. And if you're not those things with your wife, you shouldn't have a wife, let alone to have multiple nashim. Some men want to have 3 and 4 women and then mistreat 2 or 3 because they ain't got the big booty, because they don't look as good as that one. Now, I will say this. You reward a woman based on her works in your life. From what you see she does is how you reward her. Because if she's nasty, mean, arrogant, dirty, sloppy, she doesn't do all that great, then why would you go get her a beautiful castle knowing that she's just going to slop it up and have it stinking with flies and maggots all around the place? Why would you have that? So let's move on. Is there another question? See, Ima, this is what you, okay.
I don't see another question, but what I do, the comment from a coach, Saadia, says, Shabbat Shalom family. A lot of women nowadays are so desperate to have a husband because of the odds 8-1 that the wives are willing to go out and provide everything for the man as a means to have a husband.
This is true. But you know what that's right there, Sister Bati Saadia. What that does is that falls in alignment with Scripture. Isaiah, the 4th chapter, where women will say, I will buy my own food and my own clothing and raiment. All I want you to do is marry me and remove my approach. So that falls right in alignment with prophecy. So what you just did was show that prophecy is being fulfilled. But I see a lot of other comments, Ima.
Yes, some of those comments are just between people. But one you asked who was the son or grandson. It was Lamech. He had 2 wives, Ada and Zillah. He was the first one in the Tanakh to be mentioned as having 2 wives. And then Brother Asa's question is, Deuteronomy 17:17 says, a king should not increase number of wives. Why?
It says a king shall not multiply his wives like he does his horses. Now, how many horses does a king have? If he's a good king, he got at least 10, 20, 30,000 horses. So therefore, if he shouldn't multiply them like he does his horses, you don't see a king walking around with 1 and 2 horses. You don't see a king walking around with 3 and 4 horses or even 5. He's not much of a king. Kings have thousands of horses because everything in the army belongs to the king. They multiply because they're building up their strength to fight off and ward off the people who are coming against them. All right? So that's what that scriptures mean. It doesn't mean that a man shouldn't have more than 1 wife. May the Most High be praised.
This comments that More Sharon put up, Coach Sharon, I believe it was to the question of, to when you were speaking of a woman in the Western mindset of wanting time. And so she was saying wanting to spend time is simply the biological makeup of women because it's an emotional need.
Yeah, but I think she understood as I explained it, because I saw something else she said. She understand now, indeed, somewhere. But I think she understood. It's the biological need that the world has given us because of the Western mind state that we have adapted. And that the woman, because it is an emotional need to be fulfilling, when she produces children, they fulfill that emotional need in her life. Now, I'm not going to say that raising children and dealing with your children take away all of your desires and passions to have your husband by your side. But if you understand the duties of your husband and where he's at and what he's doing, then you won't have such of a problem being a good wife. It's when you are dealing with the selfish side of things. Well, I want him to myself. I want him to myself. I want him to myself, that you miss out on the purpose as to why he's not there. as much as you would want. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy. By no means am I saying that it's easy, but it is definitely something that's necessary for a man to be a man. You know, another situation that I have to bring about is that a man, no man, in my opinion, and my whole lesson is in my opinion, everything is about what the Creator gave to me. A man should never just have one wife that he cohabits with 24 hours a day. A man should always have his own place, and his wife should have her own place. And if a man has multiple nashim, each and every one of them should have their own place, providing that he's able to do so. Now, if he's not able, but yet he has multiple nashim, then they can all live in one big house where she can have her side or her quarter, the other one can have her side of her quarters, and he has his in the basement maybe. But a man always has to have his own place to get away from everything and to clear his mind, to think, to function, to pray, to get into him spiritually, because that's needed to be a man. It's needed. Believe me, it's needed. If you are a substantial man of value, you have to have that. If you're just a regular dude, then you all right. You just do what you do. Go home to your wife every day. You're good. But if you're a man that's getting it, that's doing it, that's moving, that controls the lives and the futures and the destinies of others, you need your own place as well, because you have to get into you. Oftentimes, you have to get grounded. You have to have that place to clear your mind. You have to have that place to think and do what you need to do. So just putting it out there for a lot of the brothers, you know, that are thinking about having multiple women. If you got 3 or 4 or 5, then you should have at least 4 houses, 3 or 4 or 5 for them, and then 1 for you, so that you can do your thing. Even if your place is just an apartment, even if your place is just a room, you need something just for you to be able to do what you need to do. I had one for myself, but it got confiscated. Somebody just took my little spot. Somebody just took mine. So now I got to get something else for myself. All right. Any more questions? Any more comments?
It's comments, yeah. This question from Brother Antoine says, do we have examples of how the women feel that have been a part of or are a part of religious marriages from their point of view?
See, that's a very good question. And let me ask you this question. Well, let me make this statement about that. A lot of men or males that are practicing polygyny is doing it wrong. A lot of them, let me give you an example of what I mean. So therefore, it's going to create depression in the minds of a lot of the women. With our women having this Western European mindset, a lot of them are going to feel unhappy, feel like they're missing out, feel like they're being mistreated or unfairly treated. The Torah doesn't teach those things. The European man has put that in our mindset. The Torah doesn't teach that you even have to love your wife. It doesn't even teach that. So a lot of women may feel like they're in a marriage where they're not being loved, but yet they're being provided for. Their needs are being met. And they're in a marriage, but yet they will complain because I don't think my husband loves me. Why complain? So to ask your question, my brother, I think it will be offsetted a little bit because the mind state of the average woman in America has been destroyed. It's not right. But for those men who may be doing it right or feel like they're doing it right, then we have to ask their women, and I have 2 of them on this platform that I know. I have 2 of them here, but we would have to ask the women that question, how they view polygamous marriages from their point of view. Now, polygyny can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. It's all about how you perceive it. All right. So my answer in a nutshell would be, if you take women that are raised up to believe that you have to be in love with a person before you marry a person, then we will have a problem answering this question. Because a lot of times, as I stated earlier, when a man takes a wife, it's not because of love. And if that woman is still looking for that love and she's not receiving it, but yet all her other needs are being met, in her mind, she's going to feel deprived because that's what she was taught to expect out of a marriage. She doesn't understand the love that she's receiving. She doesn't really understand it because she is receiving love just by the man bringing her and putting her up underneath of his protection. Nothing but love is going to make you do that. All right. And I pray that that would help in the answering of your question, my brother. Iman, did you have another one?
Yes. Coach Saadia said, Prince, as the wives going out to work and providing fulfills prophecy, do you recommend this for sisters within the nation? Because if the wives are providing everything and taking care of the husband financially, how then would the wives respect him?
All right. Let me explain. That's a good, very good question. But let me explain it for a second. The prophecy said that the women would already have working money, capital, and all those things.
Yeah.
And that they will come to the man and say, let me be called by your name, and otherwise marry me. It didn't say that they were going to continue. It only said that they already had all that they needed. This man, if he enters into agreement with this woman, with that reason is saying, okay, I'm going to marry you to take away your reproach. You got to obey. You got to listen. You got to do what's required. You got to help. You got all these things. So be it. She agreed. They get married. She doesn't have to quit her job. But if he's a stay-home bum, she should have never went to him because he would never qualify to be a righteous man for a woman to go to asking to be called by his name. See, these women had to go to a righteous individual and request this of a righteous man. But let me explain something else to you, Bati, because this is important as well. If the man doesn't make as much money as the woman, she's making more money than him. If he's a man, he will know how to run his house, and she will never lose respect for him because he's a man, and he knows how to handle his business. If he's a male, then that's when the woman seems to get more masculine than you and dominate you when you're a male. But when you're a man, other things kick in because a man is not about how much he makes. It's about who he is in his character, in his integrity, in his honesty, his sincerity, his commitment before the Almighty, how serious he is in that walk of life. That's what causes her to respect him. But if he's a male, he will be walked over. It's just a matter of time. He'll be walked over and disrespected. There is a difference. And that's what we have to understand. Nasik, did you want to comment?
Yeah, I saw a question that Yahoo had brought out. Yahoo. When I saw it, I'm like, it's so much, but I want you to go ahead. But I had a perspective that I wanted to bring out about that question that he asked.
How about you do it? How about you take it? Take it. Go do your thing.
All right. The question says, before I answer that question, Antoine asked the question. There are books on it. It's a lady. It's a lady by the name of. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Go ahead.
It's a lady by the name of what is her name? Patricia Dixon Spear. We want for our sisters what we want for ourselves. African American women who practice polygyny by consent. Get the book if you haven't had it, even if you are against it. I'm always teaching whether you against polygyny or whether you are only for monogamy. Destruction is in our so-called Black communities. Period. Whether it's monogamous or polygynous, it's literally that. So that's why our ministry is House of Balance. Everything got to start from, like a princess said, got to start from the beginning. So the structure has to be there. You have no structure, you're going to fail in whichever one. Now, to answer the question, what Yirmiyahu said, is there any examples of polygyny being done correctly in Scripture? What is correctly? When you look at the Tanakh, I'm going to answer that question, but I got to bring this out. The Tanakh, the purpose of the Tanakh was to get us closer to the Most High, to get us away from idolatry, to teach us how to operate together as a nation righteously, right? But what examples do we have of any good or bad polygyny? Are we talking about the wives not getting along? Well, we have men that don't get along with each other. We have sisters that don't get along with each other. Brothers, it can all be subjective, is my point. So that it's nothing biblically in the Tanakh that shows anything or a bad example of polygyny. You see women not liking something or a woman not liking something, but that's subjective. That's with any subject. So the question might have to be brought out a little bit deeper, right? Because anything that we bring towards it can be just from our perspective. Okay, well, an example, polygyny, well, they supposed to all get along. That's not true.
Mm-mm.
Even in monogamy, the husband and the wife don't always get along. So that question, the reason I'm harping on that question is because that's the argument against polygyny, is that question. Where are the good examples or any examples of it being done correctly in scripture? If we put another subject in there, where is the good examples of a man running his household? We have multiple subjective ways of living today. Prince brought his way that he suggests to be done, and somebody else, another man might do it. That say they should be around their wife. Is that against scripture? Neither one is. The way he's saying is conducive. The way someone else might say it is conducive. That's why I say this is the last thing I'm gonna say. The reason you don't see examples, bad or good, because that wasn't the focus of the Tanakh.
Exactly.
That's what elder man say. What do you call that when you have conflict? Where you have conflict in every matter. You have conflict in every matter, you all. So this is not to push. I'm gonna bring it back to Prince. It's not to push polygyny or monogamy. I don't teach none of it. No one really asked my question or what I think on it, but I don't teach it because that's not the focus of the Tanakh. But what he's bringing out, take the meat. What's good for you? And I'm done because I had to bring that conflict resolution. Conflict resolution is with any matter. Building a home. He's giving you suggestions on how you can be successful in marriage. You know, being spiritually, physically, mentally, and he brings out financially too, and things of that nature. He even says, well, you don't got to be super rich, but then some people might say you have to be super rich. Some people might say you need to have a house for all your wives, but then it's a point in scripture for polygyny where they didn't when you have both of his wives in the same house. But y'all don't know that because some of y'all don't know Hebrew. So this subject, man, is harming us more than most. And the last thing I'm gonna say too, it's not 8-1. It's not 8-1. And in America, for so-called just America in general, they say for every 100 women is 90 men, something like that. But for the so-called Black community, for every 100 women, there are 88 men. But y'all just looking at that 12. It gets more as you add.
The homosexual.
So you have 100 women here, 88 men. Then you have another 100 women here, right. 88 men. That's 24 now. So we're all looking subjectively of what we are used to. I'm gonna give one last example of what I'm trying to bring out. My wife and her sister is some amazing sisters, right? I'm talking about, I've never seen sisters like them in my life. They hold hands when they go in stores with each other, right? If you're not used to that, subjectively, you're going to be like, oh, well, that's weird. But they're used to it. So I think what Prince is bringing out is with the Western mindset, because a lot of people hate that terminology, but it's true. We're used to certain things that we're doing. So a lot of stuff is foreign to us in the scripture, even though we claim we keep the scripture. Most things is foreign to us. So with that, I yield. I know I went elsewhere, but hopefully you hear me out, who I answered your question. Going back up to your question, you said, where is it at? Is there any examples of polygyny being done correctly in scripture? Yes, multiple, but the problem is it's not spoken of, because that's not the matter of the Tanakh. It's not spoken of. It's many men that had multiple wives, and their stories are not talked about with being married to them. So with that, I yield.
All right. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah.
Those that know me, I don't teach monogamy or polygyny. I just had to bring that out because I think a lot of these topics, this is a good topic, it's needed, but for some that's not equipped to handle it, it destroys our community more. So with that, I yield.
All right.
May I?
Yes, you may.
I mean, if you need to go on, go ahead.
I don't need to do anything. I'm patient, very patient.
Yeah, I've been very quiet.
Should I enlarge your borders?
You don't have to. Yeah, I've been very quiet because I do like to hear opinions of others, just to hear and see what people are speaking on, because polygyny, as Nasik just stated, is a very it can be very emotional, very touchy. I mean, people, you put up all type of guards, and I'm in polygyny, and I still put up guards when it's spoken of because of just the vastness of what polygyny is. What the question that Danielle put up about, is there examples of polygyny done correctly? I think a lot of times we look to the scripture for everything to be done perfectly. And Moreh Shalem likes to say that you're supposed to use Torah as an application to apply Torah to our daily lives. Everything in the Torah is not perfect, and everything is not done correctly in our own definition of what correctly is, right? And so, like for me, I had a sister come to my house. She's a Muslim sister, and we were talking about polygyny. I don't even know how we got on the topic, but I grew up in a family that polygyny was not looked upon as, my mother definitely didn't want polygyny. The women in my family were like, oh, women, it was this whole women, like, we're strong and independent type, But I can remember from a little girl, I always had this mindset and this question of, but women are, I don't know where it came from besides the Creator putting it in me. I always had the mindset women were partners or with their men, with their husbands, to please them, to submit to them. And as I grew up, my mother would say that to me. She said, you're different. I see how you look at things differently when it's about marriage and wifely duties and things like that, because I would question some of the things that my mother would do with my father. Not to disrespect my mother, but because I just didn't, in my heart, I didn't understand their dynamic, which I'm never, I always have as an adult, I came to understand that, but that was their love, that was their marriage. And I respect it to this day because it worked for them, right? But in my idea of polygyny, I have this, and it could be a fantasy, because when I think of polygyny, I think of collective responsibility, unity. And these are some of the principles in Kwanzaa that I spoke of earlier that I was taught to apply to my life every day. And so when I became an Israelite, or accepted myself as an Israelite to know who I was, I noticed that the Torah, those principles came out of Torah. So if we coming into marriages, into life, because every relationship, if you look at having friends, having a sisterhood, that's a form of polygyny in some way, because every sister you have is different, right? You're going to have different relationships with every sister. Some sisters, and it happens in sisterhoods become jealous of another sister's relationship with you, or you of her, whatever it is. So when I think of the whole concept of polygyny, I'm in my heart, I'm like, it's about unity. It's about the two women. Most importantly, this is my opinion. Of course, everybody knows. I feel the two women are the strongest, or even if it's three women, four, the women, period, two or more, whatever it is, are the strongest unit of that family to keep it going. The man has a responsibility that is beyond our own concept of understanding, and we have to stop trying to even understand it. We have to stop trying to even comprehend what the man is and why he is his way, because we're never going to get it, because we're not men, we're women. And I think even the same with men in so many ways, right? I think what we need to do is, and I'm working on this myself because I'm not a perfect woman, I'm not a perfect human being, mother by far, right? But what I consistently try to remind myself when I feel myself going into that space, and it's not even just a Western mindset, it's a mindset of us being combined and amongst so many different nations, so many different ideologies, so many different opinions that we have lost. And the Most High said it was going to happen, that we were going to lose ourselves. We have lost ourselves. Some of us are fighting to find ourselves again. And so in doing that, we're still consumed by all these other opinions and ideologies and thoughts and things like that. So when I approach polygyny, I'm always of the mindset that me and those sisters, I want to have unity. I want to have a sisterhood. I want us to love each other in the same manner. And it's nothing about lesbianism. In the same manner that we love our husband. I want that sister, I want us to honor each other in that same manner, because that means we have a oneness with one another. Because if we are going to bind ourselves together to that man who we are supposed to be one with, then in so many ways, we have to be one with one another. If we can't be one with one another, it's not going to work for us. That's my opinion. That's how I look at polygyny. But I do understand, and I have seen it growing up, where there are women who aren't one with one another, and it works for them. So I don't judge people's relationship on polygyny, or if they want it or don't. But I know for me, when I look at polygyny coming into my family, that's how I look at it. That's how I desire it. And I have desires that most women don't, because I grew up completely different from a lot of the women that I've come across to. So for me, a lot of times, and I will speak about my desires, but a lot of times I will push my desires down, because I realize most women don't have that desire because they are westernized. They are consumed with the ideologies of so many different people and nations, and they take the opinions of others way more than they love themselves, to live out their destiny, to live out their desire, to embrace who they want to be. So I've accepted, polygyny and what it is. I've had bad relationships in polygyny in my past. My polygyny relationship now is a work in progress, because I don't say nothing's perfect. There's good days and bad days, just like in a marriage with your husband, is good and bad days. But I think the biggest thing is being honest with yourself about what it is that you want in polygyny and working towards it, and then speaking clearly about it. And if the other person doesn't want it, accept that they don't want it, and figure out the common ground to where you can meet to make it be. Because if you are going to work together and you can't, and that husband, if you're working together and you're building together, the best way to do that is within unity. And it takes communication, it takes time, patience. It takes us really digging deep into ourselves and saying, hey, I may not be fully ready for this, but I've committed to this man, so I better in some way commit to this relationship, especially if you are all going to be in close quarters with one another. Some women and men, some marriages love to live together. Some don't. Some have to for many reasons. Some do not. But if you're going to be in a community and you have multiple wives, this is just my opinion for men and women, there needs to be a ground of unity, of consideration, respect, because when you have to build those children, my biggest thing with polygyny is the children are the ones who hurt the most when the marriage fails, when the women don't like each other, when the man is not in control of those households. The children grow up hating polygyny, hating marriage, hating whatever culture they're in, whether it's Islam, Hebrew Israelite, whatever African village you belong to, because it wasn't done in righteousness. I don't think there's no correct way. I think what happens is we look to this perfect vision of what we want it to be, and then we disregard everybody else's vision. We have to be open to see what everybody else's vision is. And on the other side of that, don't abuse a person who is willing to just be all in for you in polygyny, and you're not. It has to be a balance. Everything there's a balance to it all, and I think we're consumed with our own emotions. And like I said, I can be that sometimes. I can get consumed with my emotions, but when it's corrected, and the Most High shows you that it's not right to be in that way because it's not building, it's actually causing more division. Just like I think Maish said, and a couple of people have said already, and Nasik Reishi, that a lot of polygyny has caused so much division in our lives, in our communities, in our nation, because we look at it through a tunnel vision or a closed lens. We pick out all the bad things to discuss about it. We don't pick out none of the great things. And I go back to that Muslim sister who, when she talked to me about what I saw in polygyny, she said, you know, you have a vision that's what most people should be having, but because of how we're living, and she said, and one thing she said, because how the men talk about polygyny and do polygyny, it has tainted so many women's ideas or so many women's thoughts and processes of it. So, you know, yeah, thank you. That was it.
May the Most High be praised. And she, you know what she said earlier, y'all? She said, you don't let women teach. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And just for the records, family, I want y'all to know that most of this was not according to my plan today. I had a whole 2-page lesson prepared, and we ain't got into most of it. Didn't have an opportunity to. But that's okay, because sometimes that's the way the class goes. It doesn't always go the way that you set out for it to go. You know, as long as the Most High is in control, we are all right. We are all right. Okay? So may the Most High be praised. Iman, did you want to say anything else? Did you have any other comments you wanted to post before we move on? It's a whole lot of them there.
Yeah, there were some questions and comments. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling up. Oh, I did want to, this comment, that also made me think about some things, because we do come into this way of life of a woman shouldn't have to work and all these things. But Brother Elijah, he put up a woman, the Proverbs 31 woman, right? So many of us women like to brag about that proverb, but then we complain about doing everything that proverb says. She's a virtuous woman. It's so many things about her that society and just we as women throw out the window. But as soon as something is spoken about polygyny or a woman's job, we want to be a Proverbs 31 woman, but we don't even understand what that truly means, because we're not ready to get our hands in the dirt. We're not ready to be up hours before our husbands or our children and preparing life for them for that day. Like, it's so many things that I have seen in Israel where, you know, that's the first thing a woman wants to say, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. And I just look back and I close my mouth, because I'm just like, they have no idea what that means. They just like to spew it because it's a common proverb, I guess, for women to love to be attached to. But it's just like being married to a man. If you want to be respected and looked at as in a certain way, you have to live that. If you I've learned through my own choices in life that when you marry a certain person, you are going to be connected to that. And that's how people are going to treat you and look at you and actually act, not act, but look for you to act as that man is. So if you're married to a man who does not aspire to be great, eventually you as a woman won't aspire to be great. But if you marry a man who's aspiring to be great and you are doing the same, it's like you are going to rise to that occasion. And being a Proverbs 31 woman, it didn't come because we were born. It's something that we rise to the occasion of. And I see so many women think, oh yeah, I'm a woman, so I'm a prop. No, you're not. Rise to the occasion, work to get there. Everything is about the work to get there. You don't attain something because you just think it is that. You attain it because you do it. You aspire to be it, so you do the work to get there. And I'm not trying to be hard on us sisters, but we have to get out. We have to let that go sometimes. If you are not able to aspire to that woman, it's okay, because every woman is not a Proverbs 31 woman. Every man is not this type of man. Every man is not that type of man. You have to get in tune with the Creator. Ask him to guide you on what your position is, what your job is. And then you become that. We too busy trying to aspire to something that we don't even know if we have the tenacity to do. So first, ask the Creator. Don't go asking everybody else, oh, what do you think I am? Ask the Most High, because he already has it in his plans of who you are. He knows who you are. But if you're going around asking everybody else, you're going to become what everybody else wants you to be and not what the Most High has designed for you to be. So, Zehu on that. I'm sorry. But you asked, there are a bunch of, let's see, the question, and Kitar says, what does it mean for a woman to be under reproach? Isn't reproach culturally determined?
All right. All right, and let me explain that point of view. A woman under reproach means a woman who lives a worldly life. It's a woman who's not married. It's a woman who brings shame when you compare her to the laws of the Creator. A sinful life she's living. So therefore, to have her reproach removed from her, she must marry a righteous man to be her covering. And once she goes under the protection of that man, her sins is removed. She now get the blessings of that righteous man upon her because she belongs to him now. That gives her a head start, a jump to redo life, to live in a completely different manner than what she previously lived. Also, in the ancient days, a woman under reproach was a woman who was a prostitute, who sold herself for money, who slept around with different guys, a harlot. This is just some of the things. A woman who didn't have any children, didn't have really much of a responsibility in life. And she could be a young woman, because you got to remember now, in the early days, back in the ancient biblical times, 15, 16, 18, a young lady was married. If she got to be 22 years old and she wasn't married, something was wrong with her. That the father's looking to get rid of her in a different way, just to get her out there so that she can produce children by her husband. And this is a fact. You can look this up. It's not my opinion. So today, because the world has changed so much, a 14-year-old woman to get married, oh, why is she getting married so young? Well, they used to do it down south less than 40 years ago, 50 years ago. 14, 15, 16, 17. They used to marry them early. A lot of that is because if they marry a young woman at a young age, it prevented her from committing sin at a later age. Because when she get around 16, 17, 18, her natural instincts kicks in, her natural desires to want to be touched, to want to be penetrated, to want to do a lot of things that marriage requires. That's going to naturally kick in for her. And she's going to want those things. Well, she can't have those things if she's not married, if she's living a righteous lifestyle. So therefore, they would marry the women to be young. They would marry those women off at a young age to older men. and the older man might be in his 20s, his 30s. They would marry that woman, and they would know how to mold, shape, and bring her up into a formative life so she can be productive as a mother. Because you got to think about it. And I don't want y'all to forget this part, but maybe some of you don't know it. But our women didn't just sit around the house and take care of the kids. Our women took care of the animals in the yard a lot of the times. Our women made clothes. Our women did a lot of singing. Our women knew how to heal the body with herbs. See, it's a lot of work for a woman that's going to be a P31 woman. A P31, that's right. My sister taught me that. P31 woman. To be a P31 woman, it's a lot required. And a lot of females today don't even come close, so close to being a P31 woman. Nowhere near. All right? So it's not as simple as, well, all he wanted me to do is sit in the house and raise the kids. No, you sit in the house, you raise the kids, you're my doctor when I need a doctor, or when the family needs a doctor. You studied herbs. You understand herbs. You know, this will help the household to heal. You know how to make clothes. You know how to sew. You know how to, I had a woman tell me one day, not too long ago, I don't know how to sew. Well, I got to teach them how to sew. If they don't know how to sew, you got to teach them. But if you don't know, then you got to go get somebody else to teach them. But they must learn these things, because these are the qualifications that make them, how can I say, valuable to a man. They know how to do music. They know how to make pottery. They know how to do, and when I say make clothes, I mean make clothes from the ground. They go out and get the fibers, weave the fibers, mince the fibers, and take the fibers, crochet them, or however they're going to, and come up with a garment. That's what I'm talking about, how our ancient sisters used to do. So they didn't sit around the house bored with nothing to do. And with all those things that they had to do, they ain't really got time for no man to be around them 24 hours a day. So that relationship did not exist like that. That man was out trading sheep, trading cattle, dealing with the general forces in the public, and up other men's face, handling business, in the meetings with other men about how the organization and the team is going to run, how the community is going to operate, and what we're looking at toward next year of bringing more people and more houses into the community, all types of things. That's men's business. But the women's business was pretty much out of the way of everybody else and staying at home handling her business, the things that I mentioned earlier. But with today's culture, we don't understand how our people did what they did and why they did what they did in many instances. We don't understand. So that's just the beginning of the matter. All right. So do women do make that the focus point? Why? Go ahead, Iman, read it.
Coach Sharon says, women do make that the focus point of why they don't do polygyny. But when I speak to multiple women about it, correctly means the structured integrity. The structural integrity. Yes.
Structural integrity. See, that's what when I mentioned it earlier about dealing with those women was looking for a righteous man, because he's going to deal with them structurally integrity. He's going to deal with them integrity. His integrity is going to be structurally sound. He's going to walk in his integrity. He's going to hold himself to certain principles, and he's going to be successful at that. You know, there's a lot of males today that has no integrity, but yet has 3 and 4 and 5 wives that only last on the average a year, 2 years, 3 years, even 4 if they're lucky. 4 if they're lucky. But to make it past 5 years, he didn't change 3 or 4 wives within that time frame. It's because he doesn't have any integrity. He'll blame it on the women, as we most often do, but it's usually not the women. It's usually us. Iman, did you want to say something? Because I hear you, so I didn't know if you wanted to speak.
Oh, no, I just didn't turn on my mute.
All right. Is there another question or comment?
Yes. Autumn says, Cain, that makes sense. Nasi Shi, Shema. You have to use wisdom and conflict resolution in either situation.
Let's stop. Stop. Go ahead. Read our explanation. I'll jump to it.
And then she asks, isn't it something like 1 in every 4 Black women would get married in today's time due to incarceration, gay men, divorce rates, etc.?
No, I think it's way less than that. I think it's way less than 1 in every 4. It might be 1 in every 10, maybe, because the women that are not married is a whole lot bigger than the women that are. As Nasik brought out earlier, it's like 12 to every 1. I thought it was 10 to every 1, but he could be correct because his numbers is probably more updated than mine's. My report was done in maybe about 10 years ago. So he's probably correct. Nasik, did you want to speak on that? Because I see you popped in. Did you want to speak on that subject? Okay. Why is he not up?
Yeah, what I was referring to, I had saved this. It says something is demographically amiss in parts of eastern DeKalb County, just outside of Atlanta. In several predominantly African-American neighborhoods, there are only about 3 Black men for every 5 Black women under age 65. The sort of gender imbalance reflects a number of factors, primarily mass incarceration, like you said, and high mortality, and is present in hundreds of communities across the country. Nationally, the Census Bureau counts 88 Black male adults for every 100 Black women, while the ratio for whites is more equal, 97 men for every 100 women.
That's deep. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. All right, Emma. Did you have any more questions you want to present? Comments? Can't hear you if you're speaking.
I'm sorry. I'm just scrolling to see. No, really? Okay.
That's it?
Oh.
I'm not promoting monogamy or polygyny. I know that sounds weird, me saying that. What I'm promoting is balance in the home, man and woman, integrity, right? For whatever you do. If you don't have integrity, you're going to fail at both. And you're going to hurt people, whether you're a man or a woman. So I just want to put that out there. But I am a numbers guy, and I am just bringing up the facts of things, what we know to be true from the stats and our literature.
All right. May the Most High be praised. Toda. All right. Are there any other questions or comments?
No, it's just comments like Ema Hubbard said, that's right, Prince Kez. So glad you explained what a P31 woman is, told out to the Creator.
Yeah, because so many people don't know. They think they know, but they don't. All right, so what time is it?
It's 1:52.
We ain't got time to start the lesson. I tell you what, we're gonna take a vote later on. This is what we're gonna do, family, because it's so late. We stop class. The early class stops at 2:00. So we can do one or two things. We can continue this subject on the 4:00 hour, because I got a whole 2-page lesson that we haven't even gotten into yet. So it's your decision. We can continue this subject in the 4:00 hour, or we can have our regular scheduled class at the 4:00 hour, beginning in Genesis, the 14th chapter, 13, 14, and 15. So that will be your discretion. You decide today, Creator willing. We'll be back at 4:00. Try to be there at 3:39 and just wait until 3:45, just so that you can pop in to cast your vote as to how you want the day to proceed. So if you guys want to hear the conclusion about the polygyny, then we will conclude that, or we can move it to next week. It's your decision. It's no big rush, no big force, but we like to give the people what the people need. I see that this conversation was a lot more intense than I had prepared for, but we're flexible, we're adjustable. We can move. If the punch hits us in the face, we can dodge and weave and get out the way, to take all the pressure off the body so the body don't fall. And we can get back up and then throw a harder blow to destroy the adversary. So here we are, family. You come back today at 4:00 and you let us know how you want us to proceed. If you want to get into Genesis, then we'll do Genesis. If you want to continue today's lesson, we'll continue today's lesson, or we can take today's lesson and we can move it till next week. Your decision. But we'll be back here today, Creator willing, the Most High wills it. We'll be back today at 4 o'clock. Any questions or comments before we close out? Because we can close it out with the questions if you all like. Are there any other questions or comments? Iman, did you see any other questions or comments in the group that you would like to post so we can close it out respectfully?
I don't see any more questions or comments.
All right. So I think this might be the first time in a long time we got out of here early. First time in a long time. So Creator willing, we'll see you all back here at 4 o'clock. If it is the Most High's will, we'll see you then. Shalom, shalom to everyone, and thank you for being with us in the first part of our service. Shalom, shalom. Ho. Before we go, Ishi, are you present? Ishi, are you present?
Yes, but my computer's about to die.
You want to give everybody your treat now, or you want to give them your treat later?
I can do it on the second half when we're doing commandments.
All right, very well. Later on. Talk to you later on. Shalom, shalom, family. May the Most High be with you all. Shalom.
Shalom.